In a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. George Orwell. Yeah. This is Blood Politics. The only podcast where we don't talk about politics. We be about politics. And our mission statement is to empower, educate, and encourage everyone to speak out against fascism. Speak out against injustice and fight for freedom and equality for everyone. This is Blood Politics, and we ain't stopping till they put us in the grave. We ain't gonna be quiet, and we ain't gonna be scared, and we ain't gonna go along with the crowd. This is Blood Politics.
All right, what's going on, guys? How's everybody doing? Let me throw this on the side. Appreciate you guys joining me once again. Hope we do have a day today. Lots to get through, as always. Lots to talk about. We got about 1.5 billion clips, 1.5 billion articles to talk about. What do you say we bring in the chat before we get into all of that first, though, huh? What do you say we say hi to you guys that make this show possible in the first place? First and foremost, thank you to the mods. As always, thank you so much for your time. You guys are incredibly important in making the show continue. So very much appreciate you sticking with me through all the changes and everything that we've been through. So appreciate you guys. And thank you always to the best chat on the internet, as I always say, right here at Blunt Politics. Appreciate you, Brian Tologist there. What's up, Tracy on Facebook? What's going on? Appreciate everybody else over there on Facebook as well. What's going on, Peter, over here on the tubes of you? What's going on, my friend? Thank you for kicking this off in the right way with 5 gifted memberships. Look at Peter go. Appreciate you, my man. And then obviously thank you to everybody on Twitch over there. Hope you guys are well. What's up, Corrine, representing over there on Twitch? Right back at you. What's up, Flipper? What's up, Deb? I do appreciate you guys. You too, just like Deb, just like Peter, can also contribute to the show, whether it's hitting a milestone here like Deb, 9 months of loyalty, 9 months of contributions here to the show. We recognize that always at the end of the show if we don't see it at the beginning here, if we don't see it right when it happens. And then also like Peter, you can give donations out there. You can give memberships. There's a Venmo up here in the corner if you'd like to kick in $1 or $2 to the show. We have no sponsors. We have no financial backers. We have, no ad revenue coming in for the show. So, we try to do it the right way. We don't charge for the Substack. There's no content hidden behind a paywall, as you guys know. So I appreciate you guys for doing what you do. As always, keeping the show running. We're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers. So let's get there. I know we just passed 16. So hopefully that train continues and chugging along. Hopefully we can start picking up some steam, throw a little bit more coal in the fire, if you will, and start chugging along. Like Roxanne was mentioning in the chat earlier, I have been trying to put out some more short clips, trying to, either whether it's part of the show and just kind of, getting it down to a shorter version or, making some more content myself. So I'll be trying to get more out there for you, whether it's on Facebook, Blue Sky, Instagram, Twitch, Threads, the whole 9 yards. Make sure you guys follow me everywhere. I appreciate you for doing so if you do already. What's up there, Tiff? What's going on, kiddo? Appreciate you seeing you. What's going on, Kelly? What's up, Mark? And just before we dive into a lot of the craziness that we have to get into, I would just like to reiterate Marsha in the chat. I'm not sure if Marsha's in here at the moment, but we are still looking for somebody to help out with Marsha, who is in Batavia, Illinois. So we're still trying to figure that out. If anybody's in the area, if anybody's local in that area and can help out or has the ability to or has some ideas on ways that we can help out, please reach out to either Marsha or one of the mods or send me an email and we'll see if we can get that taken care of. Because, again, if we can't use this platform to help people that support us, then what the hell are we doing here, right? So appreciate you guys, everybody taking care of me and everybody that takes care of each other in the chat there. That's what we kind of built this community to do, really. It's just kind of get the truth out there, talk about politics in a real kind of down-to-earth way like you would with your friends and family. We were kind of sick of listening to the podcast and, kind of these pinky up liberals, so to speak, kind of talk down to us, try to teach us things that inevitably didn't happen, inevitably didn't come to fruition. So we're trying to do it the right way here. And again, we're not trying to, buy Ferraris, but we are just trying to keep the lights on here. So if you have a buck or two to contribute, think about doing so. Like I said, you can do it in the corner here with the Venmo through the chat. You can sign up at patreon.com or sign up for a YouTube membership, which is less than $3 a month. So probably less than you're paying for a gallon of gas right now, unfortunately. Well, speaking of gas, and obviously the situation going on in Iran and the surrounding regions, we'll be diving into a lot of the topics that we're going to be focusing on today, whether it's gas prices. We'll be diving into a couple clips from Marco Rubio, JD Vance, Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump. I know I apologize. I try to, keep Donald Trump away from you guys as much as possible as to not scare you guys. I think we've seen enough of him and know quite what to expect. But again, there are a few things that he mentioned that I want to dive into. So we'll be taking a look at that. Obviously, the death toll rising not only on the side of the U.S. service members, but also in Iran and the surrounding areas as well. So the destruction continues. How rapid this continues to spread continues as well. We're now hearing this morning of Israel starting to conduct on the ground targeted strikes in Lebanon. We'll be diving into a clip that will be speaking a little bit more about that. I did see a couple of reports that were stating that there were 8 U.S. soldiers now confirmed by CENTCOM. I was unable to confirm that, so I'm going to stick with the reporting of 7 for now. But I, just want to kind of put out there that I have seen a couple different places reported, not the most reputable, but, War Monitor is typically good. But again, I have only seen 7 confirmed in that regard. So I do want to make sure that we're reporting only what we know and what we can confirm and not kind of speculating as to what could possibly be taking place. Because as we know, the death tolls that typically come out are typically on the lower side, right? It always continues to grow, especially as rubble is sifted through, more strikes happen. I mean, so it's just take everything with a grain of salt. So not only do we have to dive into that, but we'll be diving into the fact that there's somebody very absent in the dignified transfer that we'll be looking into. I know we can see JD Vance, we can see Pete Hegseth, we can see Kane, but I don't see a very prominent figure that should be there, considering he's the one that sent these U.S. service members to their deaths in the first place. So a couple of those clips I wanted to be diving into. We'll be talking about how Donald Trump, along the lines of not going to the dignified transfer, blasted for being on the golf course as more U.S. service members die, as they continue to risk their lives in a war they don't understand. They're trying to, they're being told it's a religious war to bring back Jesus Christ, to see the end of Israel. Like, it's all it's ridiculous at this point. Like, it's all over the fucking place. But there's a Daily Beast article, detailing how Trump has been blasted for being on the golf course and being more concerned with this fucking chipping than he was with the dead U.S. service members. So I want to be taking a look into that. We have this CNN clip I want to be taking into, which is going to be speaking about the Israel unleashing their targeted ground attacks in Lebanon. Again, just another area, another conflict, another theater of this war we need to be taking a look at and see how that's going to progress, how that could kick off, how that's going to, perpetuate some other, bad things to happen in the area. For lack of a better term. So we'll be taking a look at that. Obviously, I want to dive into the cost associated with this, as we always have been. And this is another where, see on the bottom here, that says U.S. service members killed 8. So I knew I saw it somewhere else as well. And there was actually a couple other fucking news reports, a couple other videos that I saw that were detailing 8, but again, I haven't seen it confirmed yet, so I'm going to stick with the 7. But we'll be diving into the cost of this, and then, like I said, a couple clips from Trump. We got Rubio, we got Hegseth. We'll be all over the place. I won't subject you to too much of it. I won't subject you to more than is totally necessary. Sorry for the Jesus. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, that's terrible. As I'm saying, I won't subject you to it. As I'm saying, I won't subject you to it. I put that on the screen. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I do apologize. I do very much apologize. I'll make up for it with a couple James O'Brien clips from LBC, because they're diving into a lot of what's been taking place as well. And they have some pretty blunt things to say. They definitely don't hold back, which is, again, something we're very appreciative here at Blunt Politics. And then hopefully we have time left at the end, and we'll be diving into a little bit of the I've Had It ladies. Both Jen and Pumps make some pretty good points as they talk about how Trump is betraying his own team. I think they're talking about the either the press conference or the speech that Donald Trump gave recently, but we'll be diving into what they think about that. So again, just to reiterate here, bringing it back to the beginning, hit that like button, guys. I am Boston Bryant. This is the Blunt Politics Podcast, and I do appreciate you for joining me. Live stream podcast, whatever you want to call it. Just hit the like button, for Christ's sakes. You know what I mean? But this is a PBS article talking about the 7th U.S. military death in the Iran war, which was a Kentucky soldier stationed in Saudi Arabia. A Kentucky man who joined, fuck off, PBS, my apologies. A Kentucky man who joined the Army shortly after graduating high school is the 7th U.S. service member to die in combat during the Iran war, the Pentagon announced Monday. This is Army Sergeant Benjamin Pentington, 26, of Glendale, Kentucky, died after being wounded during a March 1st attack on the Prince Sultan Air Base, Saudi Arabia, a Pentagon statement said. Mike Bell, a retired pastor, Glendale Christian Church, said he'd known Pennington since he was a toddler and got a call from Pennington's father when the soldier was hurt. Obviously went on to die from those wounds. But, just to kind of reiterate and to keep track of what's been taking place as far as the toll associated and affiliated with our U.S. servicemen and women over there now being used as political pawns and political weapons, as we always say here, paying the ultimate price, sacrificing for a senseless, needless, illegal, unconstitutional war, which has consisted of outright war crimes by the United States, which we continue to learn more about. A lot of what we'll be talking about, well, not a lot, but a couple of the clips we'll be talking about today is Donald Trump outright lying about what the fuck took place, even though we have the footage. We've already have the reports. Pete Hegseth continued to talking about how it's being investigated still, even though you can be 100% sure that they knew the moment those missiles struck, what they struck, where they fucked up, if it was a fuck up to begin with, or whether or not it was targeted specifically and purposefully, right? So this is not something that they need ample investigation into. They should know damn well what the target packages were. They should know damn well. I mean, they have fucking drones to see. They got satellites to see. I mean, don't make it seem like they have to go do this huge investigation to figure out where it came from. That's a bunch of fucking bullshit. They're just trying to string you along. They're trying to make this so, in case something else can happen, that'll take our mind off of that. That'll take a focus off of that. Maybe people will forget, and we won't hold Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump responsible for the war crime that it is. But, we need to keep up to date with this, so that the American people, so the world at large knows the toll, not only with the Iranian citizens, with the Iranian people in the surrounding areas as well, but also to the people now that are being used as political pawns by Donald Trump in this game, being used by Benjamin Netanyahu in this political game as well. So unfortunately, another one there. Just wanted to make sure that we stay on top of that. But again, like I go on. I mean, this is the disrespect shown by the current president of the United States for the people that are now sacrificing their lives over there in the Middle East, that are now getting struck with Shahed drones and missiles and paid the ultimate sacrifice for basically the same regime to be in place at the end of it, right? I think I have a couple quotes from Lindsey Graham that pretty much contradict Donald Trump's claims that this is somewhat over or is going to be over somewhat soon. Because apparently Lindsey Graham says that we'll be considered a total failure. We can't possibly leave while we still have an Ayatollah in regime. Like we still have an Ayatollah in power. That would be a complete and utter failure by the United States, which is, again, going totally against what Donald Trump claimed. But this is from OSINT Defender, and it says, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, Pete Hegseth, and other officials attended the dignified transfer tonight at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware as U.S. Army Sergeant Benjamin Pennington, the one we just discussed, 26, of Glendale, Kentucky, who was assigned to the 1st Space Battalion, 1st Space Brigade out of Fort Carson, Colorado, and was killed in an Iranian strike in Prince Sultan Air Base, as we just discussed, in Saudi Arabia on March 1st. Sergeant Pennington is the 7th U.S. service member to be killed in action under Operation Epic, Epstein Fury, or Epic Failure, whatever you want to call it at this point in time. But what do you guys notice here? Who's missing? Who is missing? If there was ever a moment in time where optically, right, where just for the fucking pure sense of optics at this moment, where the public sentiment is so deeply against and so deeply rooted in opposition to what is happening and what is taking place in Iran right now, right, with the amount of casualties that we've seen, not only dead, but also fucking seriously wounded. We cannot forget, like, those people have been impacted. Their lives have been impacted. To what extent, we don't know, but you can be sure there'll be some recovery time. Who knows, if someone is going to be walking with a cane, won't have use of their limbs, right? Whatever that may be, maybe going through PTSD for the rest of their lives. Now have to fight with the veterans associations in the VA to make sure that they can get the care that they deserve. Meanwhile, on the back end, the VA is being stripped. The VA is being fucking run by a bunch of, incompetent people as far as the top and the leadership is concerned, right? In this country, in this fucking regime that we have in place in the United States. But who do you notice is not in place here? Who do you notice is not there? Not even in a baseball hat this time. Nope, just J.D. Vance, Pete Hegseth, and a few other top-ranking officials here. Not Donald Trump. Donald Trump was way, way too fucking busy, ladies and gentlemen. Way too busy on the fucking golf course to pay his respects at a dignified transfer to somebody that he sent to his death. Couldn't be fucked. Couldn't be bothered, baby. Couldn't be bothered. He was on the 17th tee. Couldn't be fucking asked to get the fuck out of there. Had to make his double, triple bogey. You can guarantee that he made here. And again, here's the hat that he was wearing. This might even be a picture. Jesus Christ. He looks like he's wilted. Oh my God. That's terrible. Sorry. My apologies. I don't know. How do I block that? I'll leave the mouse. No, I can't leave the mouse. It's not. All right. All right. I can't do it. I can't do it. It's got to get off the screen there. But that's the outfit and the same thing that he was wearing when he disrespected the soldiers at the last dignified transfer he inevitably was forced to attend, apparently. But the president loves golf once again. The president's love for golf once again found him under fire. President Donald Trump was spotted playing golf at Trump National Doral in Miami, Florida on Sunday morning as updates about the devastation in the Middle East due to his surprise war began last week continued to roll in. In a video shared to X by Patriot Takes, Trump is seen returning from a round of golf on his favorite golf course wearing the same baseball hat he sported during Saturday's dignified transfer of remains for the 6 American service members killed in the Iran war. Here's the video here posted. Oh, no, I don't want to see the replies at all. That's not what I want to see. All right, let me see if I can play it from the beginning. That's what I want to do. Here he is. I don't think there's any sound on it either. That's probably copyright, but you can see his fat ass waddle up the middle here. There he is right here. This fucking fat lad coming in the middle. Look at him walk. Oh, pull up the pants. Yeah. Hey. Hi. Yep, there you go. Waddles into the fucking club there after a 47 over par that he just shot on the golf course, but it's going to tell everybody he just broke the course record on that one. It didn't take long for Trump to be called out for his apparent poor sense of priorities. America as war, TSA agents aren't being paid, and this guy is playing golf. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries wrote on X why House Republicans continue to support this train wreck. Sycophants, wrote. California Governor Gavin Newsom also weighed in, writing, he's golfing after bombing children and raising your gas prices. A 7th American soldier is now dead, but don't worry, Donald Trump is golfing. If Joe Biden golfed during a war, MAGA would do another January 6th, but since it's Trump, they don't care. Harry Sisson, a Democratic influencer, wrote on X. The Daily Beast has reached out to White House for comment. Trump stirred up a wave of backlash just a day earlier during Saturday's dignified transfer, who wore his own merch in the form of a $55 gold embroidered white baseball hat with the letters USA embossed on the front. No other American president has worn a baseball hat during a dignified transfer, according to publicly available images. And that's the shit hat you need if you're fucking out of toilet paper for some reason. That's what you can use as a secondary backup. You can always take care of Donald Trump's merch in that way. But yeah, I mean, this is just to not show up at the dignified transfer and then to be seen, playing golf at the same time, or, any time there within, or I don't know, just at any point while the fucking United States is at war, while you continue to send the U.S. military into different places, as you continue to talk about going into Cuba, as we continue to talk about going to war with the cartels in Mexico, as we'll probably fucking swing around at some point to talk about Greenland again, and fucking whether or not we can split apart NATO and not helping Ukraine, even though Ukraine's helping us at this fucking point in time, right? We talked about Jonathan Pye's video yesterday where he referenced how, ironic it was at this point for the United States to be, asking for the Ukrainians' assistance in this fight. And there was a report that I saw. I'm not sure that I have it pulled up because I have so many other things pulled up. But there was also a report that I saw where Volodymyr Zelensky himself, at one of the meetings with him and Trump, gave Donald Trump a briefing, basically, on their tactics and how well established they were at taking down the Shahed drones, and basically said, hey, if you're talking about war with Iran, if you're talking about war in the Middle East and it kicks off, you may want to take a look at this, and we could probably help you in maybe defending against the bases in the area, or defending the civilian population with these tactics, with these systems. But they said no. The U.S. military, Donald Trump said, no thanks, but no thanks. We'll take care of it ourselves. And that's led to the deaths already of at least 7 U.S. service men and women. Again, while Donald Trump takes up his golf clubs onto the golf course and pays absolutely no attention whatsoever to the carnage that he started here with this fucking war, with the destabilization that's taking place in the region right now. Like, you got to imagine that there were different factions, there were different, nefarious players involved, maybe not in leadership now, but has been, they've been waiting and biding their time for that moment of, the right time for political instability, where they could try to enact some sort of regime change, or they could try to take control over this power, place, or this theater of war, whatever it may be in that regard. But there's a lot of people out there waiting for a moment just like this, where it can kind of blend in, won't be talked about as much because of the other aspects of the news that have been blown up, whether it's gas prices, oil prices, the Strait of Hormuz, or just the war in general. Like, not too many people, again, talking about the secondary aspects. Even the targeted strikes by Israel and Lebanon haven't really been talked about all that much, considering, the press and the coverage that the strikes in Iran have gotten on the other side. And this is CNN here talking about that. I'm just killing it with the segues today. Killing it with the segues. Give me a like. Hit that thumbs up for the fucking segues, if you will. Come on. Show me some love. Oh, I cracked myself up. But all right, this is CNN talking about Israel unleashing targeted ground ops in Lebanon. UAE jet intercepts drone. I think that's the secondary half of the video. I'm not sure if we'll get to that. But here's just a little update on, again, how this war continues to spread and get worse way before it gets any better, like Donald Trump has been claiming. Check this out.
Israel is launching a broad wave of strikes on Iran. Officials there say air defense systems at Israel's northern border intercepted a number of rockets fired by the Iran-backed group Hezbollah. We also know the Israeli military is carrying out what are described as targeted ground raids across.
Jesus, Machine Tool, you are just unfucking believable, my dude. You really are. I can't thank you guys enough. And we have some, that reminds me, and I thank you for doing this, not only for the contributions, for the membership, but also the reminder. We do have something to celebrate here at Blunt Politics, and I hope you guys are ready to congratulate yourselves and pat yourselves on the back. I know I posted about it yesterday, but just in case anybody hasn't seen it, we'll be talking about that a little bit later in the show. But I do want to just say thank you guys very, very much for what we have accomplished. Thank you, Machine Tool, for all the memberships that you are donating and gifting. It's just unbelievable to see you time and time again come in here and do these things. But all right. I won't give too much praise. All right. I won't give too much praise. My apologies. But thanks. I do appreciate it.
That border into southern Lebanon. CNN chief international security correspondent Nick Payton-Walsh is live in Tel Aviv. He's joining us right now. He's done extensive reporting on Israel's operation against Hezbollah in Lebanon. What are you learning today, Nick?
As you said, Wolf, it appears that we're in a slightly different phase here, where Israel is now referring to its targeted ground raids inside southern Lebanon. We only knew of 2 as of yesterday, one in the Bekaa Valley and one in southern Lebanon. Each time they're looking for commanders, specific facilities, but the notion of this plural now, not much other details suggesting that the Israelis have, from what I could see when we were up on the northern border yesterday, lacking the substantial numbers of troops that we could see publicly for a major ground invasion, are instead taking out specific targets. Now, that may suggest a sort of smart approach, so to speak, where they're looking to hit particular things rather than occupy a huge amount of territory and take.
But in any way, shape, or form, a ground raid is going to be considered an escalation in this, right? Anytime boots are on the ground, I mean, that's been a huge point of contention as far as the U.S. is concerned, as far as Israel was concerned. Whether or not boots were inevitably going to be on the ground in Iran, how we were going to, enact the regime change, the goals that are no longer the established goals, as we'll talk about with Marco Rubio. It's funny how regime change kind of fell off the map And there's also a couple other things they don't talk about in there. One being the drone capabilities and the drone production. They love to talk about the missile capabilities, the missile launchers, the missile sites, the missile production, without referencing, without acknowledging the drone capabilities, the drone production, and how much damage that they could still inflict. Even if they don't lob up the missiles that the United States continues to talk about. But this is just, clearly looking at it from my angle, looks like it's getting much worse and that this is expanding rather than contracting, like Donald Trump and the rest of these people continue to try to say it's going to be happening, right? And again, what happens if we do leave now? What the fuck was, what happened? We got the same regime in place, right? Just a younger guy, more fanatical. We got people already celebrating him as the Ayatollah. So it doesn't seem to me like Donald Trump's plea to the Iranian people has taken effect, right? Doesn't seem like they're ready and willing to take up arms against this regime, against the new Ayatollah, the way that Donald Trump instructed them to do. So that plan went out the fucking window. We can't put boots on the ground or the world's going to lose their shit. I still don't put it out of the realm of possibility at all by any stretch of the imagination. But, unless we do that, it's going to be very difficult to get any of the fucking stated goals. Now they're talking about the Navy, the nuclear capabilities that were already obliterated. And I believe Marco Rubio mentions another thing in there that I'm blanking on. But it's just clear and utter bullshit. It's changed every single day. It was ultimately regime change was the goal. Now that they know that they can't enact that, again, whether you're talking about the Maduro regime, Maduro himself, or just somebody that was under Maduro, like we did in Venezuela, enacting the same policies, probably even more corrupt than Maduro at that. I mean, the same thing's fucking happening here, only this is like religious fanaticism, right? This is a totally different subsect of like how they look at their leader in this country. So they don't even seem to be taking that into account either. But a lot of people not really discussing the surrounding areas that have kind of kicked off as far as this is concerned as well. In the overwhelming fucking, fucking, I don't know, what is it? What word am I looking for? The overwhelming plan that Israel has to make sure that this continues to expand and they get the most out of this. Right. So what were we talking about the other day where it sounds like the United States isn't very happy with Israel's choice to strike the oil facilities, considering the impact that it's had on oil prices on the world stage. So I think Pete Hegseth was questioning about that. We might have that in one of the clips as well. But again, that just goes to show that Israel's doing their own fucking thing. Right. They have two totally fucking objectives, two totally different sets of objectives. But we want to make sure that we're there to do their intent. We want to make sure that we're there to fulfill their wishes. But apparently they don't give a fuck about us, right? They need our money. They need our help. They need our military. But as far as what you guys need and what is best for the United States, we don't give a shit what you want, right? As long as we can keep Netanyahu in power, as long as he cannot be fucking held liable for his corruption, as long as he doesn't have to face that fucking, warrant on the international stage for being a war criminal, then he'd love to see instability in the region all over the place. He'd love to see greater Israel expand into places like Iran without the regime. But again, they're now just going to start striking different places, considering it doesn't look like they're going to be able to take out this new Ayatollah. It doesn't look like they're going to even want to change the regime at this point. It doesn't even seem to be a goal stated by the United States at this point. So you can see how this has clearly changed since the beginning, and they're just trying to get any victory out of this that's humanly possible, and they just can't seem to fucking squeak one out. They just cannot seem, well, it's, like I said, gas prices. I know we've seen that fluctuate depending on what Donald Trump has stated. It kind of went down. It seems like it kind of shot back up at the beginning of today. I'm not sure what it's at right this second, but it's just instability, right? Again, people don't much like instability, whether it's on the markets, whether it's oil prices, gas prices. Typically, instability isn't good. So, let's go on to here's the war ticker, considering we're talking about money and prices at this point in time. But if you really want to talk about the cost of this, if you really want to talk and put in perspective, I mean, it's probably somewhere between $15 and $30 billion to end homelessness in this fucking country, right? So, I mean, the amount of money that we could have already been spent in this country to help people, to help homeless veterans, to help homeless people in general, to help people that are hungry, whatever it may be, to help kids, get clothes, whatever the fuck it may be, we're not spending it there, right? Would rather spend it on bombs, missiles, planes, fuel for the jets, fuel for the fucking ships, right? I mean, that's what they'd rather spend it on, bombs and bullets, rather than homeless people, rather than veterans. So to put it in perspective here, every second that goes by is another $11,574. Every hour that goes by is another $41,666,607. And every day, another billion fucking dollars. Okay. And this doesn't even take into account, I don't think, again, the loss of the equipment. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but I don't think that this takes into account the loss of planes, satellite systems, installations, anything like that, which is in the billions at this point as well. So again, just to kind of put in perspective where this is going, how much it cost us, and what we could do with that money if we had, people that weren't fucking insane leading this country. If we didn't have bloodthirsty, maniacal fucking, pieces of shit running this country, just drunk, woman-abusing assholes running this country, then we might be able to do something really beneficial with the amount that we're spending right now to watch civilians all over the region die, to watch the same regime, but just younger, more fanatical, more capable, going to be in place even longer now, considering he's younger, right? Does it make sense to anybody? Let me know. If it makes sense to anybody and you can explain it to me, I'll be fucking happy to listen. But I do remember, continuing about, man, I'm killing the segues today. I'm fucking loving it. All right, so continuing on with prices, I do remember when Donald Trump was saying things like this. This is put together by Seth Meyers in the Late Night Show. It's clipped from other shows, so I don't think I should have any trouble with copyright. Plus, it's a short segment. So again, fair use. It's fucking suck. I can't take it anymore. But anyway, this is Donald Trump and the promises, just to kind of, rehash, just to kind of refresh your memory. I know you guys probably remember, but in case there's any maggots watching in the background that don't like the chat, that just like to watch and learn shit. Hi, maggots. How are you? Appreciate you joining me. Hit that like. I don't even know if you hit the like. It won't tell me that you did or you didn't. Just do it. It'll help, because I know you watch the show. I know you like the show. You just don't chat. It's okay. I see you back there. I see you. All right. Anyway. Just a little bit on Trump's promises here that he was telling, like, energy prices were going to be cut in half in the first 12 months. How'd that work out? Again, you can say, how'd that work out to pretty much every single one of these. Check this out.
We're going to bring down your energy costs, and with that, everything's going to follow. I will cut your energy prices in half within 12 months. That's going to bring everything down. I will cut your energy prices by 50% to 50%. Prices are going to come down, then everything else is going to start coming down too. We're going to cut your energy prices, and that's going to be the beginning, and we're going to bring your cost of groceries, foods, everything, we're going to all come down. Within 12 months, all of your energy bills, your car, your air conditioning, your heating, everything will be 50%, 50.
How'd that work out? How'd that go? You guys paying that? Anybody seen that reduction? No, it's increased. It's almost doubled. Oh, shit. Well, that sucks. That means he lied. Oh, okay. I'm just checking. Sorry, don't fucking yell at me. I didn't vote for him.
Goes gasoline and oil and gas. So goes the rest of other products. When you cut the cost of energy, you just cut the cost of energy. Everything follows. Look, you're in an industry, a business, whatever you want to call it, a profession in many cases. Everything follows energy.
I mean, I'm just impressed you have the energy.
Right. So again, just to kind of use the little compilation that he put together there to reiterate the lies that Donald Trump was telling, and just where we are considering the lies that he was telling. It's just, again, it's far and away, like, beyond what even we were kind of predicting at this point. Like, as much as people on the left were right in everything, pretty much, that they've been saying, like, we should have lefties were right about everything, like Trump has that dumb hat that he has. But again, as people are coming around to being lied to, and they're just having to lie to themselves now about the fact that they were lied to for the last 10 years. Again, we didn't even really predict. We couldn't predict. I don't think anybody could see how corrupt this administration was going to be, right? How fraudulent that they were going to be, how dangerous that they were going to be, right? How fucking, how they were going to operate with such disregard for the law. I guess we saw that one coming. That's not a surprise. We saw, okay, we'll give us that one at least. We'll give us that one. But the rest of it, is kind of superseding even the, like, depravities that we thought were possible with a second Trump fucking regime in place, right? So, It's kind of crazy for the people that still love to defend him, even though that was some of the promises that they were out there on social media being like, this is fucking gonna happen. 50% gas prices in 12 months. No new wars. Like, hello. Okay. Do you see where we were? All right. That brings us on to this one. Again, talking about the stated goals from this administration.
Pull as hard as you can. It won't go.
Not that one.
And it's important to continue.
No, shut up. You talk when I tell you to talk, Marco. You sit there and you shut up until you're ready. Well, until I'm ready. All right. I don't give a fuck. Anyway, this is the stated goals, or the restated goals, I should say, by the United States. And it's funny. It's really funny. I don't hear anything about regime change in there in the stated goals whatsoever. Nor do I hear them discussing drone capabilities, the targeting of the U.S. bases and surrounding areas that still happens, the use of Chinese and Russian intelligence, even though Donald Trump just had a conversation with Vladimir Putin. I'm sure that went all fucking chummy over, right? I'm sure they're just doing great together. Anyway, but just want you to kind of listen, not so much what Marco's saying, but what he's not saying in this case. Again, not respecting or acknowledging the drone production or the ability that they still have to control and to affect world shipping with just a couple drones. What did I tell you guys the other day? Like, Iran doesn't necessarily have to strike a ship in the Strait of Hormuz. They don't necessarily have to lob ballistic missiles into the Strait of Hormuz. They can literally just lob over a couple drones a week, like one a day, just into the area. Doesn't even have to strike anything, just kind of has to land in the vicinity. And that would fucking be more than enough to keep not only the insurances companies out of there, but also Maersk and the rest of these shipping companies to not want to risk the lives of the people in their companies. Meanwhile, the price of the oil is steadily growing while they're fucking anchored in the strait. So why they have no real incentive to want to push their ships through there. I know Trump's talking about they're going to be, they're going to have a convoy now. They're going to be escorted through. You had fucking Brian Kilmeade on there on Fox News talking about how these shipping, they better just risk their lives and go through it, all to see lower gas prices so that the American public doesn't flip the fuck out like they are right now. But this is kind of crazy talk that we're seeing, and you don't really necessarily need, ballistic missiles or even any missiles at all in order for them to affect the change, in order for them to, again, affect damage, affect destruction upon us, which would be more than enough to piss off the American people, to piss off the allies in the area, right? To stop the shipping going through there, to affect oil prices, and that's the effect that they have right now. So we're kind of, we're on the back foot. We may have taken out a shitload of their targets, a shitload of the leadership, but believe me, it won't be long before those leadership rows are refilled, like we're already seeing them be refilled. And apparently, even if we obliterate their entire fucking capability as far as military is concerned, it'll be another 6 months, and they'll already have it revamped, because the nuclear capabilities were totally obliterated 6 months ago. But they're already knocking on the door of having another one in the next 2 seconds, apparently. So, again, we're going to be having to do this every 6-9 months, apparently. I don't know. Doesn't make any sense to me. But here's Marco Rubio talking about the United States'
and it's
new
important
goals.
to continue to remind the American people of why it is that the greatest military in the history of the world is engaged in this operation.
Remind us.
It is to destroy the ability of this regime to launch missiles, both by destroying their missiles.
What about drones? Just missiles, not drones? Because we do know they have like substantial drone capabilities, drone manufacturing, because he talks about missiles and missile manufacturing, but nothing about the drones. And we know where warfare is heading. We know where warfare is. We cover enough of the Russian invasion into Ukraine. We covered enough of what was taking place in Gaza. We've already seen what's happened with drone warfare and how that's progressed. So maybe it might be, I don't know, prudent upon our military and our fucking leadership to start thinking about how drones can be used as well, considering the accuracy and the effect that they've still managed to have, even with the reduction in missile launches.
Their missiles and their launchers, destroy the factories that make these missiles, and destroy their Navy.
Okay.
I think we are all seeing right now.
Again, don't need a Navy. They wouldn't need a Navy. They wouldn't need a fucking Navy. The drone capabilities themselves would be able to replace those. Not only that, but they also have these fast attack boats, which it can inevitably afflict some damage. I mean, I think if anybody knows their history, knows their World War II history, you can talk about the exercise Operation Tiger, which was the kind of dry run, if you will, for the D-Day landings, in which the Schnell boats, the German S-boats, intercepted and kind of stumbled upon this exercise and were responsible for killing, I think it was something between 800 and 1,200 Americans in that exercise. So a pretty substantial loss by any regard, by any numerical fucking statistical value. A huge loss, and those were, again, completely inflicted by the S-boats, the German Schnell boats, the fast boats, if you will. So, again, I'm not saying that they have the complete insane capabilities, but I wouldn't rule out their ability to, again, impact shipping, anything like that, if they're used for that manner.
Now, the threat that this clerical regime poses to the region and to the world. They are trying to hold the world hostage. They are attacking their neighbors. They are attacking neighboring countries.
So far, we got missiles. We got nuclear, even though, again, we had totally obliterated their nuclear capabilities. They were never, ever going to be able to have a nuclear weapon again. But apparently they're just the most advanced society in the fucking history of the planet when it comes to nuclear. I can't say that word. I'm going to try it one more time, and then I'm going to move on from saying proliferation. Yes, I got it. If I messed up that time, I was thinking I was going to have a stroke. I was thinking I was stroking out on that one. But I said it the right time, the third time. Okay, give me credit. But apparently they're just completely advanced in that regard because they can rebuild it every 6 months, even though it was obliterated.
Energy infrastructure, their civilian population, they're attacking embassies. This is a terrorist government. This is a terror.
You mean like hitting schools? Like, I don't know, like a children, like hitting and killing several hundred children at that regard, like kind of like that, you mean?
Terroristic regime. And we are seeing them conduct terrorism using nation-state elements, using weapons like missiles and one-way attack drones. And the objective
Again, how you can also put into context how it's in retaliation and how we weren't seeing that happen before you guys struck them. Like, can we not, like, the context of this is wild, right? To make it seem like this happened out of fucking thin air, like this just came out of space, and it's like, oh, all of a sudden they started hitting civilian infrastructure, and all of a sudden they started attacking U.S. bases, and all of a sudden they started fucking, threatening shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. It's like, you fucking attack them, you dipshits. What are you talking about? Like, you guys were so willing to be like, oh, Israel has the ability to retaliate. Israel has the ability to defend itself, which obviously I agree with, to a certain extent. But now apparently, when in this case, when you strike first, they don't have the ability, even though it was told to us beforehand, if you strike us, we will retaliate against this place, and that place. So don't fucking do it. And you guys did it, and they're retaliated. Again, I'm no fucking friend of the Iranian regime, but to not put this into context and to not make it very clear that this is a retaliatorial strike, like to retaliate against our attacking of them, it's just propaganda. You know what I mean? It's just trying to rewrite history.
The objective of this mission is to destroy their ability to continue to do that. And we are well on our way to achieving that objective every single day with overwhelming force, with overwhelming precision. The military, the United States military, the men and women in uniform are conducting an extraordinary operation. There are not a lot of cameras down there covering what they're doing, as opposed to some of the other images that you may see from some of the cities and capitals nearby. But I want everyone to know your military is getting the job done, and every single day.
Funny, I don't hear regime change in there anymore. Did you guys catch that? Maybe it's going by too fast, right? Maybe it's just, do I have it on normal speed? I do think I have it on normal speed. He's not speaking Spanish. No, I did. It was English. I did understand it. I just didn't recall hearing him talk about regime change in there. So, Donald Trump said that they weren't satisfied. They were never going to be happy with the Ayatollah's son, right? He needed to be involved in the picking of the new leader. Like, that was even remotely a fucking possibility. Like to think about how ridiculous and asinine that is almost too much at this point. Like, anybody that the United States would be happy with, right? Anybody that the United States points to would be the first person sent to fucking prison in Iran, right? They'd be the fucking first motherfucker and the only motherfucker not eligible to become leader or whatever, position he's been put up for, right? It's the opposite of that. They're not just going to be, okay, yep, you bombed us, right? Come on in. Look, just pick somebody. Point to somebody in the room, whoever you want to be Ayatollah. You just point to them and we'll install them. Everything will be A-okay. We appreciate it, though. Thank you for bombing all the oil facilities and fucking killing all our civilians. Now just pick a leader. It's like, that's just, you know how crazy that is to think is even a remote possibility? But again, at the beginning of this, that was the goal. That was the intended purpose, was regime change the regime, have the Iranian people fucking rise up against the government, take up arms against the government and take back this place so it can be, a democratic society, right? But now, 2 days later, it was, well, fuck elections, fuck democracy. Donald Trump wants to be able to pick and choose a specific leader. Well, that doesn't sound very democratic to me, right? So clearly, as we've heard Pete Hegseth and the rest of them say, forget the rules of engagement, forget diplomacy, right? Forget political correctness. We're going in there and we're just bombing away, baby. But again, no plan, no outcome. The goals, the intended purpose keeps changing, and they just do not have a clear and consistent plan. And to kind of reiterate that, Pete Hegseth here had a couple dumb ass moments himself in one of his recent press conferences. I think this is this morning. Operation Epstein failure on this one. So let's just see what he's spewing here.
Iran stands alone, and they are badly losing. On day 10 of Operation Epic Fury, we are winning with an overwhelming...
Define winning at this point, because again, like we had just mentioned for the last 10 minutes, the overarching goal in this to begin with was to enact regime change, okay? That seems to be off the table. Like, that seems to be out of the question. We seem to be kind of not talking about that anymore, considering we don't seem to have the capabilities, again, with the forces we have in the area being as substantial as they are, not being the correct type of troops that we need in order to see these goals happen. That would need to, to set foot on the ground, to take these different sites, to capture the different leadership, to make sure that people understand that the regime change is the intended goal and that they were going to see it through to the end. That can't be undertaken with just the, just the forces that we have in the area. Experts have been kind of widely been talking about that. That's nothing we've speculated on our own here. That's widely known. But again, he continues to talk about this as if it's like a basketball game. Like, they have more points. We have more points than they do. What is winning in this regard? Is it a body count? Is it the number of targets that you've struck so far? Like, how do you measure who's winning in this?
Unrelenting focus on our objectives, which are the same as the day I gave my first briefing here on Operation Epic Fury. They're straightforward, and we are executing them with ruthless precision.
And again, this is just repeating Marco Rubio's kind of stated goals that they have now. And again, no regime change and no mention of drone capabilities or drone production.
1, destroy their missile stockpiles,
okay,
their missile launchers,
okay,
and their defense industrial base. Missiles and their ability to make them.
Okay.
2, destroy their navy. And 3, permanently deny Iran nuclear weapons. Forever.
Well, that one was already fucking, you already completed that goal, apparently. You obliterated that. Remember that? Or were you too fucking hungover at that moment in time to remember, right? Were you doing a couple keg stands the night before and you don't kind of recall Operation Midnight Hammer, which sounds like a really, really good porn that I missed at some point. But anyway, is that something that we could discuss at some point there, Pete? Because it doesn't seem to me like you have a clear understanding of like how dangerous this is and what exactly you've kicked off in this region and how exactly you're going to call this a victory, right? Like, what is the line in the sand that they're going to use in order to call this a victory? Because if we could obliterate their nuclear capabilities, like they just completely obliterated their Navy, like they say, what's to stop them from rebuilding? We know that they have the capabilities. And again, even if you take out all the factories, apparently they can rebuild all the shit in 6 months. If they can rebuild the nuclear capabilities, I don't think it should be too hard to rebuild a fucking drone factory or a missile factory, right? Just saying.
It's a laser-focused, maximum authority mission delivered with overwhelming and unrelenting precision. No hesitation, no half measures. As President Trump declared yesterday, We're crushing the enemy in an overwhelming display of technical skill and military force.
And idiocy, of course. But again, that brings us kind of the next idiot that we have to talk about, which is Trump. And again, we don't have to dive into too much of this, but there was a lot to take in. Believe me, there was a lot to take in, and I could subject you to a good fair few amount of clips if I wanted to, but I'll refrain from doing that. I won't do that, but I do want to just continue to point to this as we talked about the kind of the first torpedoing of an enemy ship for the first time since World War II. I'm laughing at myself at this point. I know. My apologies. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, since we've talked about that, there's been kind of more speculation on what's been going on. But this is just the way that Donald Trump kind of references this. And you could talk about and look at like the disregard for human life in this, like their total and complete lack of care for not only the instability in the region, the civilians dying in the region, the exorbitant prices now being paid by American families all over the fucking country that couldn't afford it in the first place, but also the people on the ship that apparently they would have the option of not only, occupying the ship, like I said, or having the ship follow them to a port of call so that they could again, hand over the ship or, exit the ship themselves and the United States could do whatever they wanted with it. No, this is apparently Donald Trump saying that it's way more fun to just sink them, to blow them up, to sink them, to kill the people on board, even if they're unarmed, even if they're on their way back from, a multinational fucking training exercise that the United States was a part of as well. So had no ability to fight back in that regard, which the United States definitely had intelligence to suggest and definitely would have known at that point. Basically, now they're relying on the fact that the ship was more than 12 nautical miles off the coast. But apparently, per the Geneva Conventions, you're also required in that submarine. You don't necessarily have to surface and expose your position, but you are very much required to initiate a rescue of that and to make sure that everything is done. I have yet to hear that the United States on that submarine was the ones responsible for the call that went out. If they responded or if they kind of called the Sri Lankan Navy. I haven't heard that yet. I feel like that would be something that would be rightly told to the public, because that pretty much determines whether or not this is a war crime that we're looking at. If you left those sailors to just drown in the water without trying to help them or save them or initiate a rescue by any other forces. Again, the submarine can rightly stay under the water. They don't have to expose themselves, but they do have to be like, okay, well, this just happened. This is where it happened. The nearest vessels, we're gonna follow you in, or we're gonna make sure that you're in the right area. So that, we're gonna keep an eye on the situation and keep an eye on the survivors in the water so that we could get them picked up. Whatever it may be, you have to do the utmost to make sure that they are now survivors as opposed to being made casualties from that. Like this, as soon as you strike that ship, as soon as they go from combatants to being in the water, unable to strike back, you then have a duty to do everything you possibly can to make sure that they survive. Right? So again, why the United States wouldn't come out and be like, well, it was the United States. And maybe I've missed the reporting. I have looked for it, and I do a pretty fair, a good deal of digging through this shit. So again, it's very likely, or it's at least likely to some extent that I haven't seen the reporting, but I feel like that would be prominently reported. I feel like that's a huge fucking point of contention in that matter. So again, if it has been reported otherwise, let me know in the chat. Happy to correct myself, but otherwise, I have not seen that. The sinking is 100% disgusting, fucking cowardly, and very likely a crime. I do agree from what I've seen and from what I've heard. Again, and this is Donald Trump kind of coldly and callously referring to that type of mission in which, like I said, could have very easily, boarded this vessel, could have easily contacted and communicated with the vessel. What are your intentions? Are you carrying any arms? Do you have any ability to fight back? Do you have any intentions to fight back? Again, this is just kind of paraphrasing. I'm sure that's not how it fucking would have gone, but you can tell what I'm talking about. There's definitely options, in the old tool belt that they had that were, definitely more kind of advantageous for both navies than kind of the torpedoing and killing of these fucking sailors. And then, having the Sri Lankan Navy having to come out and enact a rescue mission. But listen to how cold and callous he speaks about this.
The Navy is gone. It's all lying at the bottom of the ocean. 46 ships. Can you believe it? In fact, I got a little upset with our people. I said,
Sorry, I know it's quiet. I know it's quiet. It's Twitter. It sucks. That's my apologies. I do believe, yeah, the volume's all the way up. So turn it up. It's a quick clip. It's only about 20 seconds.
Quality of ship. Excellent, sir. Top of the line. I said, why did we just capture the ship? We could have used it. Why did we sink them? He said, it's more fun to sink them. I said, that's
So that's Trump right there saying, hey, are these good ships? Why don't we just capture the ships? Maybe we could use them. And apparently, I don't know if it was a commander. I don't know if it was Pete Kegsbreath. I don't know if it was fucking Raisin Kane who said this, but apparently it's quote unquote more fun to sink them. Okay? And we're not just talking about target practice here. All right? We're not talking about empty warships. We're not talking about fucking floating museums. Right? We're not talking about McHale's Navy. Right? We're not talking about fucking Down Periscope the movie. Like, we're talking about fucking occupied vessels, right? Enemy combatants. I absolutely will stipulate enemy combatants, right? But that does not automatically say that you have to eliminate them right off the bat, right? Take them into custody, right? Get intel from them. Get intel from the ship, and as opposed to sinking it to the bottom of the sea. I mean, any one of these things is more advantageous to both sides. Again, you don't see the death and destruction. You don't see the reporting of the death and destruction. You don't get the backlash from the death and destruction and torpedoing an unarmed ship on its way back from a multinational fucking exercise. You know what I mean? You don't get all of that. You get the intel. You get the ship. You can take apart the ship, figure out whatever. You know what I mean? Any one a number of things that could be more advantageous, more beneficial, and again, more humane than the actions taking place here. But they're laughing like it's fucking nothing, baby, right? Talking about like it's just a bunch of steel. It's just a hunk of steel. It's not actual human beings that we sent to their deaths, right? That were plunged into the fucking water only to be rescued by the Sri Lankan Navy. It's just a hunk of steel, everybody. And let's fucking laugh and giggle about it, right? And again, there's a bunch of different ways you can look at it, but I don't think that these, again, the impact on the girls' school, this instance right here, a pretty clear-cut pieces of evidence to suggest the depravity of the leadership and how it trickles down to, again, the people that are out there trying to just do their best to defend this fucking country, that are out there believing they're doing this for the right thing. And again, there's been a few that I've seen already that have spoken out, that rightly admit they don't want to be there, right? They won't pretty much put their name to it or their face to it because of the repercussions, obviously, they could face. But they don't understand what's going on. They don't want to be there for what's going on. They don't want to fucking fight for what's going on. And they're confused with this whole, it's a religious war now, do it for Jesus Christ so we can see Israel destroyed in the second coming of the Lord and Savior, right? It's just, it's too much. It's too much at this point. Not enough of speaking out, obviously, but again, it's a tough and difficult situation to be in, no doubt. So again, it's not as easy and clear cut as we'd like to think it is, as far as, of the ability to, deny an order or not go to your deployment or anything like that. So again, there should be some kind of, grace as far as that's concerned as well. Because I know a lot of people affiliated here in the chat that have, nieces, nephews, grandchildren serving, and I'm sure to a large extent, they don't understand, care, or want to be there for Donald Trump's bidding by any stretch of the imagination, but took an oath and take that oath seriously. And again, would not want to jeopardize their careers, their lives, because again, the backlash and the punishment, if things don't go your way in that case, is rather severe. So again, let's jump on to this next clip. And sorry for the Jesus Christ. Why would fucking ET stop it at this moment? Why? Are they trying to make us throw up? But again, this is Donald Trump in one of his recent press conferences being questioned about the Manab Girls' School bombing and his ridiculous explanation that he gave. And this is kind of a two-parter here. Not only do we need to kind of listen to what Trump was saying as far as his response is concerned, but we need to also kind of talk about like the praise and how low the bar is right now for the fucking media in this country, because a lot of people are giving this kid praise and a lot of people are being like, oh, what a brave kid. And like, I'm not to take anything away, but to be like applauded and to have it be like such a fucking thing of sorcery to ask a very detailed, specific, and poignant question to the leader of this country. It just goes to show where we're at, right? Just goes to show how low the fucking bar is right now for journalism as far as the coverage of the president and in and around the White House is concerned. It frustrates me to no end, because obviously I like to hear the question. I like to hear him fucking, the pushback, and not only that, but the tone. But it's just, that's what they're there for. That's their fucking job, right? So yes, congratulations on doing your fucking job, but it only looks good because the rest of these assholes aren't doing their fucking jobs. So that's just, I don't know. I have a little bone to pick as far as that's concerned. I think it's very telling where we are as far as the media is concerned, but also it's very important to hear what this asshole had to say. So let me see if I can find that moment here.
It's Iran, who also has some tomahawks. I wish they had more. It's the beginning of building a new country. Tomahawks are used by others, as you know. Numerous other nations have tomahawks. They buy them from us. Here we go. Let's do it the hard way.
Again, just one of the more ridiculous explanations. Let me go here. I think they detail and go towards his question here at the end. Yeah, here you go. Right here is the question.
This is going to be a determination as to my attitude, along with the people in the Trump administration, what we want to do. Thank you.
Mr. President, you just suggested that Iran somehow got its hands on a tomahawk and bombed its own elementary school on the first day of the war. But you're the only person in your government saying this. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that when he was asked, standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday. Why are you the only person saying this?
Because I just don't know enough about it.
And again, before we get into Trump's kind of response there, that's the question everybody's kind of referring to. And a great job by the kid. Nothing, not to take anything away from him whatsoever. Again, stepping up and asking that question at that moment deserves credit. But we only recognize that right now. Like, it's only so fucking apparent and blatant to us because of the inability, the ineptitude of the rest of the media and the journalists around there to do their fucking job. That's kind of the point that I'm trying to make. So again, not to take anything away from this gentleman, from this kid at all. But again, it's very telling in my eyes. So we'll go on here to Trump's ridiculous response, where he tries to make it seem like not only does Iran have Tomahawk missiles, but I think that should be a bigger story. Like, if Iran has Tomahawk missiles, and not only has Tomahawk missiles, but the ability to fucking launch them and the ability to target with that amount of accuracy, different things using our weaponry. Like, I think that's something we better fucking look into, right? I think that's probably a bigger news story than he'd like to have made it, as far as saying that. But of course, we know what countries do and don't use U.S.-made Tomahawk missiles. We know what countries are fighting in this conflict. So it's pretty easy for us to determine where the missiles came from in this regard. So again, listen to this bullshit that he talks about and how it makes no sense. Basically, he says it was Iran, but then goes on to say that he just doesn't know enough about it, but that you already came to a determination that Pete Hegseth won't come to. Pete Hegseth keeps talking about how it's under investigation. So even he won't go as far as you're going, but you know the least amount about it, apparently. Okay. All right. Let's run through this one.
I think it's something that I was told is under investigation, but tomahawks are used by others, as you know. Numerous other nations have tomahawks.
No, I wouldn't say numerous. Numerous is kind of a fallacy as far as that's considered. I think there's, based on reports, there's, the UK and Japan, Australia. I think there may be one or two more, if I'm not mistaken. So it's United States, UK, Australia, Japan, and is it Netherlands? If I'm getting that right. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat on that one, but I think I had those ones right as far as the countries that we know that possess and use Tomahawk missiles. So just to show you how ridiculous that is for him to say they're like, widespread, everybody has them. It's very difficult to tell who's using them in this, because fucking every Iranian and every Israeli citizen is just going around with the Tomahawk missile strapped to their chest. They got it all there. They got it holstered at all times and they're on their hip there. So it's very difficult to tell where it came from in this regard. It's like, no, it's pretty fucking easy. There's only a couple people fighting. There's only a couple countries, and of those countries, not too many of them have them. So pretty easy to determine and distinguish, especially where we have the video footage that proved it, as we showed. Did I show that on the show, or was that a Blue Sky video? Maybe I'll show that after. I don't think I did show it on the show.
They buy them from us. But I will certainly, whatever the report shows, I'm willing to live with that report. Yeah, please.
You said
And
earlier.
again, whatever the report shows, he is willing to live with that report. So if the report shows that the United States is, in fact, responsible, like it does show, like the investigations have shown, like the evidence does show, that the United States is, in fact, responsible for a war crime, I hope he's ready for the ramifications and the backlash that should inevitably come from that as well. Because your intelligence should absolutely be good enough to tell you that that place is now occupied by several hundred children and their teachers, and that they are not enemy combatants at that point. But somebody pulled the trigger, and again, either the leadership and the commander who was responsible for the actual intelligence or failure of should be held accountable for this fucking strike. Abso-goddamn-lutely. Abso-goddamn-lutely. And that was him with just one of the more ridiculous answers. I don't know anything, but it was Iran. It's under investigation, but everybody's got him. Just a bunch of absolute fucking nonsense to try to obfuscate from the point. And kind of, here's another one. Here's one posted by Mehdi Hassan as well, talking about how Donald Trump says the quiet part out loud. This is kind of a little bit off topic, but goes along the lines of his corruption and the way that they just are basically, like Mehdi, he said, saying the quiet part out loud now. So this is Trump on the SAVE Act, talking about how if they get this passed, Democrats probably won't win another election for 50 years. What have we been saying here on Blunt Politics? That there was definitely some plan in place, not only to enact and affect the midterms, but also the next general election. We've talked about the Fulton County raids. We've talked about the quid pro quos that have been placed and kind of given to different states as far as voter rolls and ICE is concerned, using ICE as kind of like a bait and switch, almost like, hey, give us what you want, or we're going to send DHS and ICE in. We've talked about the gerrymandering. We've talked about a bunch of different aspects that lead us to believe. Also, the leaked memo that we talked about from Legal Eagle, I believe that was last week, detailing the very specific kind of plan that they have and the rules that they want to change all over the country as far as mail-in voting. We've talked about the changes to the dates on your mail-in ballots now. So the date of that and when it's going to be accepted is going to change. Forgive me, I'm misremembering the specifics on it right now, but you can look that up, and I do advise everybody to look up all of the details, all of the rules changes in your area. Make sure you're getting your ballots out correctly. Make sure they're signed correctly. Make sure they're on out in time, received. So I think it's when it's going to be received has changed as far as when the date is. If I'm getting that correctly, let me know in the chat if I have that out of whack at all. But I do believe it's something along those lines. But this is him basically saying that, yeah, Democrats are not going to be able to win another election for 50 years or more if we get this passed. So check this out.
They're doing everything possible because they know if we get this, they probably won't win an election for 50 years, okay? And maybe longer. And they're going to fight like hell. But boy, do they get killed. Because even the Democrats, you saw the numbers today, Democrats voted 86% that this stuff should be passed. The Democrats, with Republicans.
So there he is there saying that, let's just get this SAVE Act passed again, which is a clear violation of the Constitution. There can be no poll tax. You cannot force people in this country to spend money in order for them to cast a vote. Pretty plain, clear, and simple in that regard. Multiple different aspects in order, in which that is not beneficial, in which that is harmful and will go to stop people from voting, which will not allow them to vote, again, to disenfranchise voters in this country, something that should be one of, if not the most easily and accessible things in this fucking country that the people have a right to, is to be able to cast your vote in whatever election is taking place, whether that be on a state, federal, municipality, in your fucking school district, whatever it may be. It should be the easiest goddamn thing for you to cast a ballot, for you to cast a vote. But the Republicans don't want that, because when it's easy to vote, a lot of people vote. And when a lot of people vote, the Republicans find out very fucking rapidly how fucking in the minority they are. Okay? They found out really quick how they will never in a million years win another goddamn election. If everybody is allowed to freely vote in this country the way that they're supposed to be, and that they don't put the roadblocks in the different jurisdictions and the different fucking gerrymandering rules and regulations in place, and they don't do this and try to fucking stop mail-in vote. Like, if they don't do all of these ploys and plans, they're fucked. They know they don't have the numbers. They don't have the majority. They know their plans and policies are completely fucking unpopular and unattainable at this point. So this is why they're trying this bullshit. All right, so to interject a little bit of sanity, if I will, into the show today, as I break my knuckle on the table, I want to talk about just a couple of these clips here by James O'Brien, good buddy old pal on LBC. And this is "Trump Cannot Be Trusted" is the name of this little clip that he's got here. And there's another one where he talks to Simon, his buddy Simon, that we've looked at a few times in his coverage of what's taking place in the United States. And he has a few good points to make as well. So if we can kind of jump in between, back and forth between these clips, and then hopefully we leave ourselves enough time and I can get into Jen and Pumps and kind of their take on the whole matter as well. So let's dive into this one. I do appreciate you guys. Hit that like if you could. Subscribe to the channel. A lot of people watch but aren't subscribed. I appreciate you watching very, very much. But if you could, whenever you leave or come to the show, just check to see if you're subscribed. Sometimes you may think you are, but you're not. It's free to do it. It doesn't cost you a dime. One click for that, one click for the like. That's all I ask for. Again, if you want to go above and beyond that, there's a Venmo up in the corner. You can become a channel member for less than $3, probably less than you're paying for a gallon of gas right now, or a Patreon at patreon.com/Boston Brian. Again, no ads, no financial backers, no fucking, no nothing I'm selling you, nothing hidden behind a paywall. Don't have to pay for my Substack. I'm trying to do it the right way. It's difficult to do so. It's a longer way to get around the mountain for sure, but I do feel like nobody is kind of infiltrating my mind and kind of coercing me to not speak about things or to speak about something else that I don't necessarily want to speak, like whatever it may be. I don't want people swaying my opinion. And I feel like anytime you get into, ads or sponsors or selling stuff, then it's kind of a dark path to go down to. But again, I feel like I'm going to be here for the long haul, and if at some point I'm talking to myself and I do need a sponsor, who knows? Maybe we'll have to get into it. But right now, you guys are incredible, and the show continues with just your help and your generosity. So let's see if we can continue doing this the right way. All right, let's dive into James O'Brien from LBC talking about how Trump cannot be trusted. And again, we know. But let's hear somebody from across the pond kind of give their 2 cents on it. Pence, I should say, 2 pence.
I flipping told you, didn't I? Keith, get the tin. Honestly, the way in which Donald Trump will conduct this war is to sow just complete and utter confusion. And by the way, I don't think it's a tactic. I used to think it was a tactic. I used to think it was a modus operandi. But I don't think he can operate in any different way. He is just entirely chaotic. And sadly, he's arrived in a position of prominence at a time in human history when many people are drawn to the chaos. Because I said to you, I think this time last week, that he would be so vague and so contradictory about what the aims of war were, that he would claim victory even in the face of fairly epic and obvious failure.
And that's exactly what's happening. That is exactly what is fucking happening right now. We've heard Donald Trump say this is just about over. We've taken out this, that, and the other thing. We're just kind of wrapping this up. Meanwhile, Pete Hegseth is saying we're just ramping up. Meanwhile, Lindsey Graham is saying that we're complete failures if we leave an Ayatollah in place because he's a quote-unquote Nazi, part of a quote-unquote Nazi regime as far as Lindsey Graham is concerned, even though Lindsey Graham's been going after Spain, Saudi Arabia, a few other countries in the last few days, talking about pretty much anything other than the United States. He wants to help out Israel to basically until his fucking heart stops beating. But no mention of help for the United States or how, the people of the United States could be beneficially impacted by the end of this war and seeing, I don't know, maybe somebody that's not a maniacal, dictatorial, fucking insane piece of shit lead this country. But anyway, I digress.
I told you that The Guardian and the Daily Telegraph today make the same pun on the name of the Iran war, the American name of the Iran war. They've called it the Operation Epic Force. And the Guardian and the Telegraph, the polar opposites in many ways of political partisanship in this country, they both go for the same pun and call it Operation Epic Failure. They both moot the possibility, a very real possibility, if not the already apparent reality, that this is an obvious failure. And he will claim a victory. even as he claims that it's going to be over soon, but not soon. It's going to be a complete but not complete victory. There's going to be regime change, but no regime change. There's going to be, there are weapons that need to be removed, but they haven't been removed. There weren't weapons that needed to be removed, but they have been removed. I could sit here for 20 minutes. Well, I think we both.
I think it should make us feel a little bit better that, none of it makes sense to us. But again, it doesn't make sense to fucking anybody, right? People that have been doing this a lot longer than I have, people that have covered far more administrations and regimes than I have. Doesn't make sense to them either. Like even they can see the inconsistencies, the way in which this was going to be completely destabilizing and dangerous to the region, the inability to see an end goal, a way out, an off-ramp in this. Obviously the instability it's caused to the world market, the oil prices and all that. None of it makes any fucking sense at this point in time, but we're kind of all on the same page. We're all in the same boat as far as that's concerned. So again, just to kind of make you feel a little bit better. You're not lost. You're not by yourself. You are not alone in this fight. A lot of people are feeling the exact frustration, the exact same anger, the exact same confusion that you're feeling. And that's kind of why we built this community here at Blunt Politics. People that kind of are like-minded, want a place to kind of vent, want a place where people are thinking and doing similar things, where we can call out these fucking nonsensical bullshit policies the way that we want to with our blunt speak. Without being, kind of having to tiptoe or walk on eggshells around these fucking people. And again, I don't give a shit who it is, right, left, center, black, white, China. I don't care who you are. If you fucking step over the line, if you're on the wrong side of history, you're going to get them fucking hands, okay?
I probably will. I could sit here for 20 minutes and list all of the obvious self-contained contradictions. So within a moment of saying one thing, he will say another thing. There was a beautiful example, if beautiful is the right word. There is an example from yesterday's speech, yesterday's unprompted press conference, which was a masterclass in all of the things that I have described to you. All of the things that I've described to you.
I probably should explain that he's doing a radio show at the same time while he's doing a live stream. So I believe the hand signals are to his producer to cue up either a clip for the live stream or a clip for the radio. It kind of looks funny if you don't know, but that's kind of what the hand gestures are referencing to, I'm assuming.
Started since he became president, really. But since this latest term began, all of the things I've described to you, the shillying and the shallying, the reversal and the ferreting, the contradiction and the confusion, all of it is on full display. So yesterday, when he was speaking about an attack on a school in Iran, the bombing of a school, a girls' school in Iran, he moved in the space of a single moment from lying from one lie to another, but both lies were contradictory. It's impossible to exaggerate how significant this is. So he tells a lie about the Tomahawk missiles that evidence now shows 99.9% certainty, and there's always room for doubt.
It is kind of wild to see careerist, political commentators, people kind of used to seeing somewhat normalcy, somewhat of a routine and repetition as far as, governments and politicians are concerned, like now try to make heads and tails of like the situation we now find ourselves in because of the incompetency of the American voter to understand the dangers posed by a second Trump regime. Or the people that just, stayed home in general, as far as that's concerned, to allow this to take place. But to see them try to work this out in real time and to try to make sense of it, like we've been doing it here for 10 years, probably nonstop on Donald Trump. They have to cover other things. Like they got their own problems to worry about. They got their own things. So they kind of dip in and out of the Donald Trump coverage. Us, it's like, fire hose every single day. We've been in it. So it's wild to see these other, very bright, very intelligent, very up to speed and, educated people try to kind of make heads and tails of this when there's just really no way to do so. Like you just continue to, you'll tire yourself out. You'll fucking twist yourself into a pretzel, trying to make sense of all this. There's no way to do it.
Forget, came from US fighter jets, US aeroplanes, gets picked up on it by a journalist.
We'll move on to the second clip after this. This is basically his take on the lie that Donald Trump told about the strike on the girls' school in Manab. So we'll go on after this.
And tells a different lie. Have we got both lies ready? I just think sometimes I worry that I'm the only person pointing this out, or I worry that I'm the only person noticing this, because I look at the rest of the media and they haven't even mentioned the YouGov polling on where the British public stands on this war. Did you know, because I can think off the top of my head of half a dozen people who won't have told
Well, I'm
you
sure
yet.
this isn't going to be good. Again, add this to the list of pieces of evidence to suggest that this is the most unpopular war, most unpopular military action in the history of the United States, as far as within the first week in modern history, as far as polling is concerned, and the sentiment for that war within the first week and beyond. Let's hear what the UK thinks as far as their polling is concerned.
That the opposition to US military action is up by 10 points in a week, standing at a frankly extraordinary 59% of people polled say they are opposed to the military action undertaken by the United States.
So nearly 60% of UK citizens, obviously, going by the poll there, have said that they are against, are not in favor of, hate, don't want to see the military action now, undertaken by Israel and the United States against Iran. So put that in connection with the amount of people in this country, and you can see just how unpopular, just how much uphill this is as far as a battle for this administration, for this regime, and both Israel and the United States to get the public sentiment behind them. We talked about a little bit last week of be wary of this whole terror plot inside the United States, and these different factions that may have been mobilized in the United States to try to, again, give you somebody to hate, to try to maybe. And again, I know this is me with a semi tinfoil hat on, but again, we've seen it in the past. So I wouldn't put it past this administration. I wouldn't put it past this regime to enact this in order to try to, again, gain back a little bit of the public favor. If they can say that there's terror plots and, different acts and ploys going around the United States, and they can make it seem like there's a real huge danger posed, maybe a few people will turn around as far as being like, okay, this war is necessary. We definitely have to do this. We have to make sure that this doesn't continue and this doesn't happen, right? So you can kind of see how the false flag starts to work in their favor. Again, I do recognize right hand up. It's a slight tinfoil hat moment, but again, we're all entitled to those every once and again. Considering what we've seen from the CIA and different agencies throughout the world with different global acts that they've taken over. Let's just say. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you so much, Steph. Appreciate you. Congratulations on being here for 10 months. I appreciate that. And I'm doing this for you guys. I really am. I'm doing this for you guys because I know how important it is to you. And, I want to be able to be your voice where, a lot of people may not have the ability to do it. All right. So, again, this is just his take on the Trump lie.
Whole shebang. Regardless of the UK involvement, we are in numbers that have not been seen in a very long time, united in our opposition to the whole project. But of course, because we live in a country where public discourse is defined by the terminally wrong. Here is an example. So a girls' school in Iran was bombed very early on in the war by the Americans. This is Donald Trump talking about it a minute before he said something else.
Missile strike and a Tomahawk missile likely destroyed that Iranian girls' school. So will the U.S. accept any responsibility?
Well, I haven't seen it. And I will say that the Tomahawk, which is one of the most powerful weapons around, is used by, is sold and used by other countries, that. And whether it's Iran, who also has some Tomahawks, I wish they had more. But whether it's Iran or somebody else, the fact that a Tomahawk is very generic. It's sold to other countries.
It's not very generic. It is not very generic. It's a very fucking expensive, a very specific and detailed fucking munition used by a very small list of countries that the United States does business with. It is not generic by any stretch of the imagination. It is not fucking widely used in comparison to other munitions by any comparison. Okay. And again, I think the bigger news story here should be that Iran apparently has the ability, not only do they have the ability to procure United States made Tomahawk missiles, but they also have the ability to launch the fucking things. Not only the ability to launch the fucking things, but somehow for them to connect up to radar and satellite all over the place to be able to accurately target things and places that they want to target. So that seems to me like a big fucking issue. If they're using our own weapons against us at this point in time, I don't know, might be something we want to dig into. We know it's bullshit. Obviously, I'm being facetious to a point, but I mean, how ridiculous it is to say, I don't know anything about it yet. Also, Iran has these weapons yet. Also, it could be anybody yet. Also, it's under investigation. Like, okay, so you don't want to just come out right and say you did it. We understand why. It's a terrible look. It's a war crime, and you should be held accountable. But how long do you need to investigate the matter? You don't know where the missiles came from? Do you not know? Can you not pinpoint where every single missile that the United States or Israel launched landed? Because that seems to be a fucking issue if you can't do that either, right? And to think that the president, the secretary of fucking war crimes, and the commanders in this instance didn't know immediately whether this was an inaccurate strike on a target that they had already pinpointed, or it was just a stray missile that hit somehow dead center in this girls' school by accident, right? I mean, they would have known right off the fucking bat, right off the jump. I'm sure all of this was being detailed, all of this was being watched, all of this was being fucking recorded. So they knew right off the fucking bat what was struck, who was in there. I mean, apparently, if we have the best military and the best intelligence, we know that it should be packed with a couple hundred fucking kids and their teachers, right? Shouldn't be that hard to figure out. If we can follow the fucking Ayatollah for 6 months while we're engaged in negotiations for no fucking reason, then you should be able to detail a couple hundred kids coming out of a fucking school and into a school every single fucking day. You'd think, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. I'm speculating at this point, but, you know, apparently our capabilities, per this orange fucking buffoon on the screen, are enough where you'd be able to at least detail that much, you'd think.
But that's being investigated right now.
So he lies and he lies and he lies again. Of course he's seen it. He's the commander-in-chief of the United States military, and there is well
In
documented.
full disclosure, I had not seen this far into that, did not know he was going to say that, but absolutely, there's no way in fucking hell that this wasn't widely known right off the fucking jump. I mean, it's for better or for worse. Like I said, whether it was okay to report that we had struck this target and it was a target that we meant to strike and it was effective and it got hit, or hey, just to let you know, one of the things that we struck wasn't actually a target. One of the missiles did go astray, and it was a fucking school. So maybe we should talk about this. Maybe we should get out in front of this and report this to people before, you know, it's speculated on to a certain extent. But again, either fucking way, you're responsible for that missile when it goes up in the air. Okay. Period. Point fucking blank. Your intelligence needs to be able to determine whether or not it's enemy combatants or it's fucking 200 children. That's, I don't know, should be the bare minimum in my eyes as far as going to fucking war. If you're military, can't distinguish between enemy combatants and children, then maybe don't go to fucking war. Maybe a little bit more training exercise is needed. I don't know, maybe. All right, let's go into this other clip here, because this is where he's talking to his cohort, his partner in crime here, Simon Marks. I do believe he is kind of the U.S. correspondent to LBC, but he has a few good points that he's making here along similar lines, but I do feel it's necessary to play and kind of hear the different remarks coming from around the world so that you guys get an idea of the sentiment and that it's not just, you know, you guys against everybody else. We're kind of all on the same page here as far as the right-minded, sane, democratic type of citizenry in the world is concerned, at least. You know what I mean?
It is exasperating, isn't it, James?
What happened there? What the fuck was that? Did I just get taken offline? What in the motherfucker? What just happened there? Video is unavailable. Why would it be unavailable? Let me see here. Why would that be unavailable? I just watched one. Let me refresh, see if it works. Go to home. Video unavailable. Am I still live? Did I get booted? I'm so confused. I was literally just in the middle of watching. All right, let me see if I can go through the... So what, I'm to go through all the videos that I've watched now to get back to it? How's that going to work? Is not this one, but I can use this one to get to the other one.
And well, widespread.
My apologies. I don't know why it just all of a sudden decided not to show me that, but let me go to the LBC. LBC here. Videos. And it was this one right here.
It is exasperating, isn't it, James?
Oh, I don't know what that was all about.
The performance by the president yesterday in his press conference down at Mar-a-Lago was a masterclass in evasion, in contradiction, and in making it
A
up.
masterclass in contradiction, basically what was James was just referring to, and how you could lie twice in the same sentence and have both lies contradict the other lie, right? Not only that, but trying to evade the questions, as we know is, par for the course, considering Donald Trump's, a love affair for being on a golf course while American servicemen and women are dying in the Middle East. But again, it's right on par with what they were talking about as far as like Republican policy is concerned, to not answer the question and to point the finger in any other direction other than back to themselves or Donald Trump.
On the fly. I mean, he got to the point yesterday at Mar-a-Lago where he actually, seriously, with a straight face, was advancing the argument that not only was Iran on the brink of getting a nuclear weapon that could eventually target the United States, although he simultaneously laid claim to the argument that he had completely obliterated all of Iran's nuclear capacity only last July in Operation Midnight Hammer. But he also advanced the claim that Iran was on the brink of taking over the entire Middle East. That, he said, is why he had to act. I mean, luckily they got in just in the nick of time.
And then he said in a different press conference that it was because of Jared Kushner. It was because of, what were the other two idiots involved? I'm forgetting their names now. Witkoff, and there was one other moron. Maybe it was Rubio he mentioned, but because of Rubio, Witkoff, and his son-in-law Jared Kushner, who again took $2 billion from the Saudis there for absolutely doing nothing whatsoever as far as expertise is concerned for handling that amount of money, basically just for the payouts and the handouts and the benefits that were received there, in the whole aspect that they were talking about. But again, because of what they said, Donald Trump feared that, I guess, Iran was going to take over the whole region, which we know is kind of the same tactic and plan that Benjamin Netanyahu has, which is strange, kind of ironic for them to say that was the plan of one country, while we know it's pretty much the plan of the other country that we actually assisted in this strike.
And stopped Iran from taking over the entire Middle East. A completely false, specious claim. There isn't a single analyst out there that can find anything rooted in fact to support that claim. So he says we've won, but we haven't won enough. When he's pushed on what winning enough looks like, it becomes apparent that he's going to do this for a few more days and then perhaps engage in some kind of partial withdrawal, although what sort of...
but that's just it. How do you define a victory in this case? How are they defining a victory in this case? What is the goals that they will have obtained, right? Because, again, if we're just going to bomb the shit out of them, leave the same regime in place, and then what? They're going to have all the time in the world to rebuild these facilities, rebuild the factories, rebuild their missile capabilities. They'll continuously have their Shaheds and the drone capabilities, considering they're not even being referenced or brought up now. Regime change isn't being referenced or brought up now. What is the fucking win? What is the victory here? Because as far as I can see, basically we've just destabilized the region. We've expended at least 7 lives in our military, thousands of lives in the area. For what? Caused global instability on the world market. Caused an exorbitant fucking rise in oil prices that we haven't seen possibly ever. Instability as far as that's concerned. The Strait of Hormuz, still under a great deal of impact. Like, what is the victory? What is the end? What is he going to say is the victory? What is the W here? Like, see what we're saying? Like, what is his end goal? Like, what is the off ramp? Like, I don't even see that he's given himself one that he could even try to proclaim as a victory. The Navy, we went over there to take the Navy out. Okay, guess what? Drones are taking over that shit anyway. You can continue to build your dumbass battleships, but wait till they see the first fucking $1,500 drone. Or group of $1,500 drones, right? Let's see how fucking well defended they are and how useful they are in that regard, considering they've been obsolete for, I don't know, over 100 years at this point. Anyway, I do digress. Near 100 years at this point. I won't go that far, but near 100 years at this point, right? But again, he goes on.
ability he has to constrain Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Israeli forces from continuing their assault on Iran was not addressed during the course of the press conference. And I think it's become evident that behind the scenes, he's had the Qataris and the Saudis particularly putting the arm on him and saying, this has got to stop. We told you not to do this. We've warned you.
That's the pressure that we talked about as well on the show about them not having enough interceptors. Like it's been reported again, I believe it was by the New York Times, that the surrounding areas, the allies that we have in the areas, are getting, pretty uptight, pretty worried about the amount of interceptors that they have and the ability that they have to intercept the incoming missiles or drones that are affecting, their economy, that are affecting the tourism, that are killing people in their countries, right? So again, this is something that Simon talks about here, that James talked about, and that we talked about a great deal last week on the show as well.
Consistently about the risks of this sparking a wider regional conflict in the Middle East. It's laying waste to our economies. It's laying waste to cities like Dubai. It's putting our citizens at risk. You've got now to climb down. And buried in all of this, James, was the complete betrayal of the American people by a president who twice now, during the protests back in January, and then again 8 or 9 days ago when this war got underway, said to the Iranian people, first time round, help is on the way. Second time round, now is the time for action. Now is the time for you to seize control of your own destiny. But take a listen to the betrayal of the Iranian people by Donald Trump at the end of the press conference yesterday.
You promised the Iranian people you would help them, but it sounds like you're willing to end this fight after your military objectives have wrapped up. Isn't that a betrayal of
Will
the
I
people?
help them? I'd like to, if they can behave, but they've been very menacing. They're great people. They have an amazing population.
I think Gramps misheard the question. I don't think he actually heard what the fucking question was, because he doesn't seem to be answering the same question that he was asked. Again, you're going to go on to say, that this regime was going and killing protesters like they were, and you're going to go in and help them any second now, and help was on the way, and then it turned into they should probably do it themselves. And now all of a sudden, you're going to leave the same regime in place, probably even more pissed off considering the shit that they've just been through. Anybody that was, showing their displeasure for the regime is now going to be targeted. You can be damn sure. Considering the same regime, again, is in place no matter what. But this is him basically saying, yeah, forget that. Don't worry. We're going to wrap it up in a couple days. They'll be left to their own devices. I know the people that celebrated and actually listened to what I was saying as far as, rising up against the regime, they're left to their own devices. They're kind of, up fucking shit's creek without a paddle at this point in time. But, what can you do? We were in there. We did our thing. We hit a couple Navy ships, took up a couple fucking missile sites, killed a few people, and we're out. You know what I mean? We just wanted to make sure that we could actually still get $100 a barrel for oil. That's basically what this was about.
It's amazing, smart, brilliant, energetic. They have a great point. I'd love to help them, but they have to be in a system that allows them to be helped. And right now they're in a system that only allows failure.
Yes, system that it seems like you're more than willing to leave in place right now, considering your ultimate goal, your goal on the onset of this was complete and total regime change, right? But that doesn't seem to be obtainable at this point, and now you're just recognizing that? Like somehow it just got through to Donald Trump that maybe this isn't possible without boots on the ground. And maybe that the American people won't stand for boots on the ground. Maybe the world writ large won't stand for boots on the ground. I don't know if somebody maybe got into his head. Maybe somebody's been fucking squawking behind the scenes. But it does seem like, the allies that we have in the area, the instability in the region here is at least giving him second thought on whether or not he does want to continue this very much longer, because he's trying to get it out there that is the victory, that we won't be there long. Meanwhile, the rest of his regime, the rest of the people are still putting it out there that we're just kind of getting started, like Pete Hegseth loves to say in this regard too. But, there was a moment in time where I don't believe it was at this one, but it was at the last press conference that we just looked at where Trump was speaking at. So was it, let me see if I can pull it up. That was this one right here. So what was this one at? Congressional Institute, I want to say. Something like that. Well, they gave Donald Trump about a 2 to 3 minute standing ovation. Like, I know it doesn't sound like much when you say, well, 2 to 3 minutes, but count to 3 minutes right now. Like count all the way till, till you get to fucking how long that actually feels like. And when you're clapping for that long and how like North Korea that is, it reminded me of this story before we jump into the I've Had It podcast real quick and what they think of it. It reminded me of this story that, through my dealings and learnings of World War II have come across a few different times now. But let me throw this on the screen because this is the so-called 11-minute applause that, kind of following Stalin's lore around, if you will. But this kind of very much reminded, we always love to talk about the North Korea aspects, the North Korea style of the propaganda, the North Korea style of praising Donald Trump, much like Mike Johnson did in this event. Oh, he just never sleeps. He's the most active. He's the most energetic. He fucking never takes his shit. He burns off so much of the food. He never even has to take a piss. Like that's like how North Korea was starting to get. Well, it's now gone into the Soviet aspect. Okay, we've now gone from North Korea style to now trying to get into the more straight up Soviet aspects in which North Korea kind of learned their ways from. So this is a story about Joseph Stalin. How I believe it was in I think it was in 1937. Should say here 1930. Yeah, it says right here. After Joseph Stalin gave his speech at a conference at a communist party in 1937, the audience exploded into applause. The problem was, once they started and once it got past a certain point, nobody wanted to be the first person to stop. Okay? Because at this point, to be the first person to stop would be an almost guaranteed death sentence, right? So as this says, it goes on to say that the party people leapt to their feet and began clapping wildly. Some seemed to be in a contest to who could stand and clap the fastest. Yet the big question soon came. Who would have the nerve to stop clapping first? After a few minutes, nobody showed the courage to stop, and so the applause went on. The clapping continued nonstop for 11 minutes. Finally, one man had enough and stopped clapping. As soon as he sat down, the frenzied audience also quieted down. Soon the room was completely silent. Later that night, the man who stopped clapping first was arrested and sentenced to 10 years in prison. Right? Basically, it says here, the applause went on 6, 7, 8 minutes. They were done for. Their goose was cooked. They couldn't stop now until they collapsed with heart attacks. At the rear of the hall, which was crowded, they could hear a coarse cheat of bit clap less frequently, less vigorously, so not so eagerly. 10 minutes, 10, insanity to the last man. Believe enthusiasm on their faces, looking at each other with the faint hope that the district leaders were just going to go on and on applauding until they fell where they stood. They were carried out of the hall on stretchers, right? So just to show the maniacal, ridiculous nature of kind of the dictatorial autocrat, the fascist strongman, right? Or even the communist strongman in this regard. And like the same way that we look at, Mike Johnson and the way that Pete Hegseth and Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino and the rest of these fucking sycophantic freaks speak about Donald Trump, like a 2 minute to 3 minute applause is fucking diabolical at this point in time, right? Considering we're at war, the destruction to this fucking country, the destruction to, the relationship of the allies that we have with the United States. I mean, the whole kit and caboodle at this point. Any standing ovation, any applause is a joke, but to be standing for 2 to 3 minutes, giving this fucking schmuck a round of applause is it's diabolical. It's wild. It's fucking wild. But all right, let's dive into a little bit of Jen and Pumps and what they have to say. I believe they're talking about Donald Trump's, I don't know if it's the speech he gave or the press conference at this point. I wanted to watch it with you, but I do believe they're kind of giving their take on what's been happening lately. So here's Jen and Pumps from the I've Had It podcast. I do appreciate them for, their commentary here. Let's see what they have to say.
When you have an incompetent, dementia-ridden president and he starts a war, the war is also incompetent and riddled with dementia-style tactics, disjointed military operations, no clear purpose for the war. And because we have been so void in the United States of America of actual journalism, it's been so bad that when somebody does real journalism, you feel like, oh my gosh, somebody's throwing us a crumb. And I want to give a shout out to Sean McCreesh of the New York Times, who yesterday asked a real...
So pretty much a similar take that what I had, right? Like this only stands out and we only have to give this kid his fucking dues and his compliments and his applause because of the way it looks so strange. because of how foreign it seems to have somebody ask a legitimate, coherent, concise, detailed question about the ridiculousness of the bullshit and propaganda that they're hearing in return, right? So again, not to take away anything from, excuse me, I already forget the name that she said, but she did detail the gentleman's name there. But not to take anything away from him. But again, this only stands out and is only as apparent as it is because of the lack of journalism that we've actually seen in this country for so long.
Journalistic question to our dipshit president who got us into an insane illegal war. Play the clip.
You just suggested that Iran somehow got its hands on a tomahawk and bombed its own elementary school on the first day of the war. But you're the only person in your government saying this. Even your defense secretary wouldn't say that when he was asked, standing over your shoulder on your plane on Saturday. Why are you the only person saying this?
Because I just don't know enough about it. I think it's
But he
something.
apparently knows enough about it to claim that it was this state, that country, knows enough about tomahawks to claim that everybody in the world apparently has them and that everybody should be pointing the finger elsewhere besides the United States, which again, investigations, film, fucking everybody that's already done the deep diving to figure out where this came from already has substantiated and come out with. But apparently the intel that the president of the United States is lacking, because TikTok knows, Instagram knows, Facebook knows, Twitch knows, YouTube knows, but apparently the White House, the Pentagon, the Secretary of fucking War Crimes, and the rest of these assholes don't know.
That I was told is under investigation, but tomahawks are used by others, as you know.
Yeah.
Numerous other nations have tomahawks. They buy them from
Yeah, maybe
us.
it came from Japan, right? Maybe Australia lobbed one over just to fucking show some appreciation, right? Maybe they threw one over with a roux on it.
But I will certainly, whatever the report shows, I'm willing to live with that report.
Okay. He says, why are you saying that? And Trump admits, because I just don't know anything. I just don't know. So I'm just up here freeballing. I mean, that's basically what it is. And the fact that we are so thirsty for this style of journalism and that, the United States of America, that Tomahawk missile bombed an elementary school. Now, I know that on the MAGA side, they don't really care about Arabs or if Iranian schoolgirls are killed. We know they don't, because they don't care if Americans are shot in the streets. They don't care if immigrant children are put in alligator Alcatraz or are put in concentration camps, that Stephen Miller's purchasing all these warehouses. We know that. But some of us do. And we need to be loud about this. We attacked an elementary school, and now Israel is attacking all of their infrastructure, water, etc. This is an illegal war, and that's the guy in charge of it. That guy, Donald Trump.
What's interesting about the claim that the Iranians bombed their own school is even if the Iranians had Tomahawk missiles, which they don't have a way to launch them.
I mean, great point by Pumps, right? That's Pumps, if I'm not mistaken. That's Jen on the left, Pumps on the right. Hopefully I'm not getting that mistaken. Crisscross it, flip-flop it, reverse it if I am getting that wrong. But that's a great point. Same point that we were making. I think it's a pretty big factor that we need to determine here. Again, if Iran has the ability to not only procure U.S.-made Tomahawk missiles, but also the ability to launch and to utilize the targeting platforms and the systems necessary to make them hit the fucking intended targets. Like, I think that's probably something that we should think about. And again, great point made by Pumps here. Pumps, right? Yes. Thank you, Tiff. Appreciate you. I don't want to continue calling them by the wrong names here. I thought I was right. But yeah, great point made by her in this case.
And the fact that the president of the United States does not face backlash within Congress, that he doesn't know. He says, I don't know. And everybody just leaves it at that. And to your point about journalism, systematically in Trump 2.0, they've banned reporters from the Pentagon. They've banned reporters from the White House press pool so that they're friendly. Laura Loomer is even reporting from the Pentagon. This is by design, because I believe they know how fucked up what they're doing is, starting January 20th of 2025 all the way into this. And I agree with you completely.
And again, to speak a little bit more on what she just talked about, on what the politicians are saying, check this out, and we'll dive back onto this one. Even Matt Walsh Even fucking Matt Walsh is calling out Lindsey Graham at this point. Matt Walsh says this is an insane thing for a United States senator to say. Totally indefensible. Well, I wonder what Matt Walsh had to say when the Republican senator actually went to Congress wearing an IDF uniform. I'm curious what he had to say at that point. But here's Lindsey Graham saying that he is not with you. I'm with Israel until my dying day. And again, a United States fucking senator talking about this. Check this out.
All the anti-Semites to all the isolationists. I don't believe
All those anti-Semites. Jesus Christ, Linz. How many drinks did you have before you did this one, Chief? Huh? All those anti-Semites.
To officially name the undisputed. When did this come out?
They must have been hanging out together before this fucking interview, because I don't know what an anti-Semite is. I'm just gonna say I don't know what an anti-Semite is.
all the anti-Semites to all the isolationists. I don't believe. Forget it. I'm not with you.
He's shit-faced. He's shit-faced. He's fucking cocked. Okay? He is fucking rocked, cocked, and ready for a whiskey barrel, baby.
with Israel. I will be with Israel to our dying day.
I'll be with Israel. Am I in Israel? I think I'm in Israel right now. I'll be with them, if not to my dying day, until I get cirrhosis of the liver for sure.
They're the best ally we could hope for. So we have.
Yeah, what do they do for us? What do they do for us instead of fucking sucking us dry, corrupting our politicians, killing people on the world stage, committing mass genocide, destabilizing the region, costing us fucking billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars? What do we get in return for all of that? Just curious.
Chief and President Trump, who I think is Ronald Reagan plus.
Ronald Reagan. Oh my Jesus Christ. He did the WW. He did the WW. He did the Ronald Reagan. He did. He did the Ronald Reagan. You have got to be shitting me. How did they air this?
So far. So we have a Commander-in-Chief and President Trump, who I think is Ronald Reagan plus.
Ronald Reagan. He's Donald Duck. He's Waffy Taffy, and he's Ronald Reagan all at once.
Plus. All the anti.
Fucking this guy. But that's not all. Let me see if I can find this, because there was a couple. There was a couple quotes here. Yeah, here he is. Something about the Middle East. Then he talks about Spain. Then he talks about the UAE. Yeah, here he is. Graham, Spain has lost their way. He doesn't want to do business with Spain anymore. He wants the air bases out of Spain. Somebody died and made Lindsey Graham president, apparently. And there was a couple more in here. He had another one where he's like, I'm going to make he's talking about Cuba. If we get in a fight, I want to win it quick. I'm in Miami. You see this hat? Free Cuba. He holds up a free Cuba hat, basically depicting that Cuba will be the next target by the United States, which was also brought up by Donald Trump, who continues to talk about how weak Cuba is right now and how it's being deliberately kept in a weakened state, whether it be for fuel, whether it be with food, whether it be with energy and power to begin with. Like, they're being deliberately starved. They're being deliberately kept from having fuel, and they're being deliberately kept in the dark so that when Donald Trump gets around to it, whenever this whole fucking Iran thing is done, Cuba can be the next, target. And then who knows what's after that? It could be the Mexican cartel. It could be Greenland again. Who the fuck knows? But here are these bloodthirsty neocon fucking sons of bitches going on TV and basically celebrating it with their fucking merch. Like, what are we doing here? What the fuck are we doing here? Celebrating it with fucking merch. God bless Israel, says Lindsey Graham. And there was one more in here. I think he was ready to do a deal or something like that. And then, people were commenting like, who the fuck are you, Lindsey? Like, you're not the fucking president of the United States. Let me see. I think Midas Touch might have posted one of his, let me see here. Midas Touch, Lindsey Graham. Will that pull it up? Let me see. Yeah, one of these. Got to be one of these top ones, no? Maybe not. Cuba's the bad one. Lindsey Graham, one of the worst fanatics. Came in on my side. Get rid of the bad guys. Not that one. Yeah, maybe I'll just go to, can't be that far back, right? Can't be that far back. Let's see here. Maybe it is. Maybe it is, because there's probably about 1.5 billion clips from Trump in here as well. Or is it this one? Yeah, here it is right here. Here it is right here. Talking about Saudi Arabia. Graham says, Saudi Arabia, I am willing to make a mutual defense agreement with your country to give you protection in perpetuity. If you were attacked by Iran, we would go to war for you, says Lindsey fucking Graham. Like, who the fuck are you, chief?
Perpetuity.
Right? First of all, your loafers are way too fucking light. Second of all, your blood alcohol content is way too fucking high for you to be making that. And thirdly, who the fuck are you to be making decisions like this? You're not the fucking president. Not that I would listen to him if he said the same thing anyway, but listen to this. Listen to this fucking cockbag here.
Finally, to my friends in Saudi Arabia, I've been your biggest champion. I think the Crown Prince has taken Saudi Arabia in a completely different direction in a good way. But here's what I want to say to Saudi Arabia tonight. I'm willing to do a mutual defense agreement with your country to give you protection in perpetuity.
What is this, the Lindsey Graham Mutual Defense Agreement? Huh? Is this going to be with Lindsey Graham and Lindsey Graham alone? Are you going to sign this all by yourself? Or what the fuck are we talking about here? What are you doing? What are you doing? You being silly here? You being a silly man after a couple glasses of fucking schnapps? Or what's the deal here? Somebody get this guy to his car, please, so his assistant can go and fucking stick his fingers up his butthole. Whatever he likes there. All right, let's get back into this one. No more of that. No more of that guy. All right, let's we'll finish it out with this, and then I'll get into thanking some people. I'll let you guys out of here for the day.
Competent person, you will get an incompetent war.
All right. And then moving along, Trump's doublespeak and always trying to play both sides of everything has been ubiquitous in his life, long before he ever entered the political sphere. And here he is both simultaneously claiming victory over Iran while also claiming a continuation. And let me unpack why he's doing this. He was advised by the Pentagon, the Joint Chiefs, do not do this war. It would be long. We probably wouldn't win.
See, I don't buy that. I do not buy that at all whatsoever, at any shape, by any form. I do believe that he was maybe, kind of directed or kind of, briefed on what the outcomes could possibly be and the possible dangers of this. But I don't believe in any way, shape, or form that Dan Raisin fucking Kane instructed the president not to do something, or anybody in that fucking White House had enough balls or dignity or courage or morals or beliefs or principles to say, no, we shouldn't fucking do this. I'm not buying it. I will not buy it. I do believe that they probably accurately depicted the possible outcomes. If that's something you could kind of stipulate as far as that's concerned. But no, I'm not buying whatever reporting's out there that anybody told him, hey, don't do this. And that Donald Trump was like, you know what, I'm doing it. No, he probably got all the fucking pats on the ass, all of the fucking corroboration that he needed to make it feel like he was doing the correct thing in this. But just to be wary, this is the possible outcomes, because when it happens, don't look at me and say that I didn't tell you it was possible. You know what I mean? That type of thing.
We do not advise of this. I don't know if anybody.
Yeah, we were talking about that last night too, Brenda. That's a good point. The Iran war plans. What we were kind of speculating, is that something that Benjamin Netanyahu kind of wanted to get his hands on, so that he could kind of compare and contrast Israel's plans to strike Iran with the United States, who had been undoubtedly planning this for quite some time, undoubtedly had spent ample resources and intelligence to try to figure out the best ways, had already figured out and kind of gone through the possible outcomes as far as that's concerned. So I don't know. We always talk about how Donald Trump stole the Iran war plans, was showing the women inside of Trump Tower there that he was doing an interview for. But I don't put it past him to steal these classified documents, because Benjamin Netanyahu, and again, that I think there's a lot, even though we're close allies with Israel, I'm sure there's a lot that the United States intelligence agencies and the United States military does keep close to the vest, right? I'm sure they're more than happy to share some things, but not everything. I don't think that we're out there sharing our different plans, war plans, that is, in different scenarios and different instances with all of these countries. I could very well be wrong, but it's kind of, in my estimation, like how we send over different military equipment. We're not sending the same military equipment that we use. Like an F-16 is not the same as every F-16. F-15E is not the same as a different variation of that. And the add-ons and the different fucking capabilities of these machines definitely have a huge impact. So I don't believe we're giving everybody everything. So to be able to get his grubby little fucking war criminal hands on this Iran war plan, Could be very beneficial to, again, compare and contrast what Bibi had as far as targets, as far as ways to go about it, as far as that's concerned. Who knows? I don't put it past this administration at all. So appreciate you bringing that up, Brenda. Thank you so much, guys. You guys have been amazing and continue to be, as always. All right, just another minute of this, and then I'll start thanking some people, and I'll get you guys out here to enjoy the rest of your day. Looks like the sun is shining out here in the Boston area, so get out there, touch some grass, smell some fresh air. Get the shorts on, get some sun on those old legs. I'm sure they need them, and not necessarily old legs. It was just a turn of phrase there. So don't go yelling at me in the chat, okay? But I'll let you guys get out here and enjoy the sunshine for as long as it's going to be out there, because apparently it's going to drop back down in the old temperature is concerned in the area in the next couple days. So enjoy it while you can.
His cabinet advised him about the economic fallout of this war. And I tend to think, no, they didn't, because I think he just had Benjamin Netanyahu and Lindsey Graham in his ear over and over. And as we know with this president, whoever has his ear the last are usually the sentiments that he echoes. That's
and again, we'll end on that point, because that is really scary. If you take that into consideration, considering the reporting that we're getting here, Ukraine-Russia war latest, Trump says he will loosen oil sanctions after very good call with Putin. So one phone call with Putin, and that's all it takes. The instability, with the oil prices. And next thing you know, the sanctions are being lifted off of Russia. India is being allowed to once again purchase Russian oil, thus again giving Vladimir Putin the ability to profit off said shit. But again, that's not the only country that he's going to be again loosening sanctions on because of the instability that he's caused. So now we're going to be rewarding countries that had sanctions on them for very specific and detailed reasons. Now we have to relinquish those. We have to back off on those sanctions because of fucking Donald Trump's his fucking idiocy and the fucking insane nature in which we decided to engage in this war with Iran, right? So he says it was a very good phone call in which he promised that, don't worry, we're going to take those sanctions off, and anything that you want as far as your partner in crime is concerned with Iran, just let us know. We'll be happy to. And again, I'm not sure if this was where I saw it was discussed that Zelensky. Let's see here. Earlier, Volodymyr Zelensky said that Ukrainian drone interceptors and their operators were already on the ground in U.S. bases in Jordan, having arrived last week, as we depicted the irony of the United States now needing the help of the Ukrainians. But it was also talked about that Volodymyr Zelensky in an earlier diplomatic meeting had showed and told Donald Trump about their capabilities and said, hey, if we could be of any assistance to you, if whatever kicks off in the Middle East as you're suspecting or whatever, if it ever comes to that and your bases are being hit, let us know, because we have the ability, we have the the knowledge and the know-how and the skill set to be able to take these things down pretty effectively. And Donald Trump brushed it off. The United States brushed it off, said thanks, but no thanks. And again, we saw the inadequate nature in which these military installations were defended or not defended at all, even though they had requested more air defenses, more systems in place to make sure that they stayed safe, but didn't inevitably get those. It's just a lot of parts to this that show that there was no real planning and thought put into this, whether it was the amount of Americans that were left in the area that were not told to leave the area, to not get out of the region beforehand. Again, the way that the bases were kind of left unprotected to a certain extent, knowing the retaliation that was going to come after the strike, or again, the instability in the region that's been caused, the inability for them to, fulfill their duties as far as getting the interceptors to our allies to keep them fucking happy and safe, to feel like they can continue to shoot down the missiles. All of this, it just leads to incompetency, ignorance, death, destruction, destabilization. All of that is something that is going to continue as far as this is concerned, because I don't see any coherent plan. I don't see any concise through line as far as this being over anytime soon. So again, I think this is market manipulation as far as Trump is concerned, getting a little worried at the extent of the effect on oil prices and what people are paying at the pump. And he knows that, with just a few words said by the president of the United States, that he could have an impact even for a short period of time on those gas prices, on the instability. But again, as we've seen, that's continued to fluctuate. It's continued to go up and down. We saw it go down and then jump back up. So Who knows what's going to happen when this continues to go on? The further it goes on, the more instability we can assured to see, if that's the correct grammar. I don't know why I just trailed off on that one. My apologies. But let's get into thanking some people here. Let me thank the people on Venmo first. I appreciate each and every one of you that takes the time out to contribute to the show. Again, whether it's $1 or $2, that's all I ask for. Anything above and beyond that is totally 100% up to you. Maybe I should stop saying that. Maybe I'm costing myself money by saying that. But again, that's just how I feel. I don't want to be having anybody rob Peter to pay Paul. I don't want to be taken from any of the aspects of your life. If you're in the comfort zone of being able to give away $1 or $2 every month and have it not affect or impact your daily life, that's kind of the sweet spot that we're trying to hit. I don't want to be anybody impacted negatively because you have to feel like you have to contribute to these shows. So Linda, thank you so much for today. I really do appreciate you. Says love the show. Very much appreciate you being here. Thank you for your kind contribution. And then everybody over the last couple of days, Yakov, Raja, Linda, Ricky, Teague, Helen, Thomas. Thank you, Jenny Faye. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Roxanne, Thomas, Barbara, Christopher, all of you guys. Moms, thank you to Mike. Thank you to Raja. Thank you to Nancy and Bry over the last few days. Like I said, you guys are amazing and keeping the show going. And it's the only way that we can keep going. So hopefully you guys don't stop anytime soon. And you guys keep sharing the show so we can continue to get new people in here so that the onus, the burden isn't left on you amazing fucking people that continue to contribute every single show. So let's see if we can share that show out. Let's get people talking about it. If you have to talk about it in different chats, don't take away from the show that you're watching, obviously. But, in passing, if you could kind of mention the show and say, hey, if you like what you're watching here, then you should probably check out this podcast, this live stream, because you might like it. Again, we're not trying to impact or take away any viewers from anybody else's show. But again, to get the word out there, I don't think it's too much to ask. So thank you, Peter, for starting it off in the right way with 5 gifted memberships. As always, great to see you in the chat, my man. Appreciate the contributions. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Same thing with Deb. Let's go. Thank you for being here for 9 months. The loyalty, the friendship, the viewership, you guys are amazing. So let's fucking go. Team Democracy, right back at you, Deb. Hope you're having a good one. Thank you, Yakov, for your contributions, for your milestone as well. 14 months. Let's fucking go. Best goddamn blunt politics podcast in the world. Let's fucking go. It better be the only one, too, Yakov. Better be the only one. Have I licensed that? I don't know. Should I copyright? I don't know. Can you do that? I need like a business partner. I need like an ally that knows anything about business at this point because I don't know. I'm just shooting. I'm shooting from the hip here. You know what I mean? I am shooting from the fucking hip. I am just my opinions, giving you the real version, the truth, wearing my heart on my sleeve. That is just that's what I'm known for, and that's what I'll continue to do. The other aspects, not so much, not so much. But I appreciate you, Yakov. Again, thank you, Peter. Back at it. Thank you for the 5. Truth is an investment in our own future. Like, subscribe, and share. We are the solution we're waiting for. Again, nobody is coming to save us, Peter. You are 100% right. And until we step up, until we show, again, the level of displeasure, the level of anger we have right now towards this regime and how we're not going to stand for this, again, we're going to continue to be trampled on and until we, vote in and elect the people that have our best interest at heart and aren't willing to take, foreign funding to sway their beliefs and policies, to lie to us and say they're going to do one thing, but inevitably not do that thing or multiple things when they get into office. The quicker and the better off that we will be as a society. So, Peter, 100%, brother. Appreciate you. Definitely agree. What's up, Bri, man? What's up, dude? Appreciate you. Thank you for becoming a new YouTube member. Please give some love to the pup there as well. Thank you so much. Thank you to, geez, see, this makes it very difficult. This makes it very difficult because there was a bunch of unbelievable contributions. But I'm kind of hand-tied as far as what I can say. So we'll go down to Peter. I appreciate you, Peter, as well. Thank you. At least 10 states have surrendered their voter rolls to the DOJ. Know your status. Check to be sure. Stay informed and vote. Very important, Peter, as well. Like we said, know the rules and the regulation changes, right? Know all the policy changes as far as voting is concerned, whether it's mail-in voting, early voting, in-person voting. Make sure that you are on the voter rolls, considering, again, all the shenanigans behind the scenes. A lot of people, I'm sure, are going to fucking show up to midterms and be like, hey, listen, we don't have your name here. You're just not on the list. Sorry. You must have been taken off the voter roll for this or the other thing. And then you're not going to be able to do it at the day, and then you're screwed. So again, hopefully everybody gets that taken care of and squared away well before midterms comes around. That way everybody's ready to rock and fucking roll when we need you. All right. So Peter, appreciate you, brother. Thank you to Steph B as well. Been here for 10 months, and I appreciate you for every single one of those 10 months. Thanks for doing this, Brian. No, thank you to you, Steph, and to everybody else that watches. Because again, I would just be probably in a psych ward for speaking to myself all the time if you guys weren't watching. So I'd be in a padded cellar with a big white coat on that wouldn't let me eat by myself, probably. So thank you, Steph. I do appreciate you. Thank you, Carol, for the $5 super sticker. Thank you, Jordan, as well. What have we learned? Israel's Iron Dome and U.S. Patriot missile systems are ineffective. Well, we always knew that, they don't have 100% accuracy. They don't have 100%, target rate as far as that's concerned. You know what I mean? And, I think the theater, I think kind of the propaganda behind it was kind of running away at some point, considering like the launches that we saw with Iran lastly and before, like, how they've been known to call up and be like, hey, like Donald Trump says, we're going to fucking launch a missile at this base, just so you know, we're not actually going to hit it. We're going to hit close to it, but don't worry. And then we saw the launches against Israel, in which the UK and I believe a couple other nations were responsible for shooting them down. I think that was kind of very like symbolic and like a showy sign of like, let's kind of show we're going to do something back, but really didn't do anything. So again, that kind of like the lore and the propaganda behind it has kind of taken over a little bit. But again, they're by no means 100% guarantee on that one. But there are multiple videos, ample videos that really are surprising people to your point, Jordan, on the impact, the effectiveness of not only the ballistic missiles, but also the Shahed drones in getting through on both the U.S. Patriot missile systems and the Iron Dome. Again, whether that's just the inability to see because of the radar installations that was hit, the ineffectiveness of the air defenses and how they were kind of positioned in the area, or whatever it is. But again, you're 100% right that it definitely does show that they are more ineffective than the propaganda would have you believe, right? I think we've kind of overstated to some extent how effective they are. So again, that kind of has that has an impact as well. So appreciate you, Jordan, as always. Good to see you, my buddy. I was going to call you my bloke on that one, but I didn't know how that sounded. Kind of sounded weird as I said it in my head, so I stopped myself. But thank you, Peter, again for another 5. James O'Brien has correctly stated the absurd nature of coverage of DJT, knowing that he's a prolific liar, yet having to report due to him as POTUS. Right? It's just like the insanity that we've been thrust into of knowing what a dipshit he is, knowing what a fucking child-minded piece of shit he is, but still being forced into cover, and even what people like to call the distractions. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is just a distraction from the Epstein files. And again, they're so dangerous. Each one of these things is so dangerous, in its own right, that it forces us to take the time out to cover it. It forces us to kind of do the deep dive, which gives him the ability to obfuscate and to kind of take the focus off of his involvement with the world's largest sex trafficking ring and his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein and the rest of these fucking criminals involved. So absolutely right. Absolutely right. Thank you, Carol, again for another 5. I just obliterated the last handful of rolled gold pretzels in the bag, saving them from becoming stale. Well, I appreciate that. Good way to save it. Hopefully they don't regenerate. Like if you look at that bag of pretzels in the trash, it could very well be full again the next time you look at it. Give it like 6 months, apparently, according to Donald Trump. But that may just like regenerate itself, because apparently that happens when things are obliterated by this regime. But thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you, Nola, as well, for the $2 contributions. Thank you, SFL, for the $7 super sticker. Very much appreciate you, as always. Thank you, JD and Bald Thanos, for your contributions. Going right in the swear jar. Appreciate you, 2 knuckleheads. And then finishing out today, thank you, Brenda, for the 5 gifted memberships. You guys are fantastic. Continue to be fantastic, and we need you to be. I do need you guys. I really do. I know we're chugging along here. We're struggling. It's a lot to get through. We cover a lot. I know everybody's kind of getting tired to some aspect, but that's why we have the rotation going. Each and every person in this chat should be taking a day, 2 days, whatever it may be. Just kind of disassociate, detach, watch a bunch of movies, get outside, and like I said, walk your dog, hit the park, whatever it may be. Indulge in some sports. whatever it may be, to get yourself refocused, to get your energy back up, to take the time off for your mental health, to not be too inundated by all of this stuff. By all means, take that time. Again, while some people are taking a break, that's why we have to build a big community here. That way we always have people kind of in rotation. Some can take a break, some can be fighting. And when you get tired, you can take a break. Other people can hop back in. That's why this community is very important here. So I really do appreciate you guys. Thank you to the mods, as always, for all the work that you do. I really can't put into perspective how important you guys are and how much I appreciate you guys. But thank you to Veronica. Thank you to W. Thank you to Brenda. Thank you to Ellen. Thank you to Chris. Thank you to Thanos. Thank you to everybody on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, everybody that watches my stuff on Instagram, Threads, Facebook, Blue Sky, whatever it may be on. So thank you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the doubleheader. 2 shows tomorrow. So we get the early show at 1 p.m. here on the East Coast, and then the late show tomorrow night is the 8:30 show. So 2 live streams, 2 podcasts tomorrow. Make sure you hit the notification bell. That will alert you when I go live, when I do a short, when I put out a video. I've been trying to get more of that content out as well. So if you could support the channel, subscribe to the channel if you like what you're hearing, if you like what you're seeing, if you do find some, ability to pass some time while watching the show, if you find it educational, informational, if you just like shooting the shit in the chat, whatever it may be, it's free to subscribe. All right. Please hit that, check to see if you're subscribed. A lot of people that are watching aren't subscribed. Please hit that subscribe button. That will boost us in the old algorithms, and we can get this shit popping, baby. Let's get this ship to the moon, all right? Rocket ship straight to the moon, blunt politics. I'm Boston Brian. Stay loud, stay proud, stay fucking aggressive out there, but make sure you stay safe. Keep your head in a swivel. Make sure you guys are taking care of yourselves as well, all right? I'll see you tomorrow. 2 shows, doubleheader. Thank you guys for everything that you do. Thank you, mods, and thank you to the best goddamn chat on the fucking internet. The Bryantologist here at the Church of Bryantology. Again, a play on the MAGA cult, just a joke that we make fun of. I feel like we have to continuously say that so people don't think we're wearing fucking Reebok and Nike sneakers here and drinking Kool-Aid. So, all right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. I appreciate it. Hit that like on the way out, subscribe on the way out. Again, I'm Boston Brian. This is Blunt Politics, and I will see you tomorrow. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you for absolutely everything, as always. All right, it's one of these things. I think it's that one. I'm back. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Don't leave. Don't leave. Don't leave. I always forget this, and I apologize. Don't go nowhere. Don't you fucking go anywhere just yet. Don't you go anywhere just yet. I appreciate you, Dad, for jogging my old memory bank here. But I just wanted to say thank you to everybody for this. I feel like this is something that we should be celebrating. And I'll bring this up again on the show tomorrow, just so everybody knows. I'm not going to just fly over this. But thank you guys so freaking much for your contributions. We have completed and finalized our Help 99 NAFO 69 Sniffing Brigade campaign. We have hit the final goal. We actually went over the goddamn goal. If you can see here, am I in the way? Let me get out of the way so you guys can see the numbers there. So we actually got to 103%, raised over 21,116 euro and 11 cents. Again, that's got to be somewhere near what, $24,000 at that point. So the 72nd Separate Mechanized Brigade will be getting another NAFO truck 3.0 because of the contributions, because of the help, because of the importance that we have shown and seen here at the Blunt Politics podcast and help out in these different communities. And again, I couldn't be more proud of you guys. I couldn't be more proud of the fact that we got this done in such a short period of time. We're going to kind of wait to make sure that everybody gets their patches. Again, anybody that contributed, anybody that did help out with this and got a patch or anything, just be mindful of where they're coming from. It does take a little bit. So we're going to wait till people get their patches and then see if we can, start another one back up. If maybe next time we'll go for 2 trucks. I don't know. You know what I mean? But again, this isn't going to be the last of it. We're going to continue to contribute. We're going to continue to do everything possible to raise awareness, to keep it on the spotlight, to send money, equipment, drones, ammunition, aid, medical equipment, supplies, whatever it may be, over to the people that need it the most. Again, all while we're covering and trying to keep up to speed on how Donald Trump is ruining our country and the allies that we have on the world stage at large. So yes, thank you guys so much for getting us there. Big shout out to you. Hopefully within the coming months, we'll be able to see the truck make it over there, maybe a video saying thank you. I'm not 100% sure, but again, it would be pretty fulfilling either way to make sure that we know that lives are being saved and people are being able to get around the front lines in a relatively safe vehicle. Again, the vehicles are there to take the punishment so that the men and the women don't have to. These things are, a dime a dozen out there. You know what I mean? You gotta, they don't last very long. So we need to continuously be on top of this. So I just want to make sure to thank you guys, show my appreciation, give you guys a round of applause for all of your help. Again, anybody that shared this out, if you contributed a fucking cent or more, regardless of that, I just thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really, really do appreciate it. So bless you guys for your help, and thank you guys for making it worthwhile and getting us to the finish line. So I really do appreciate it. Yes, Slava Ukraini, Heroyam Slava to everybody that contributed, and let's fucking go. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll talk more about this. I just wanted to make sure I didn't forget. All right, thanks, guys. That's amazing to me. That is absolutely amazing to me. And thank you so much, Mr. Light, for that. So, raised nearly $25,000 in less than 2 months. It's unbelievable. I can't thank you guys enough. I hope you guys know how appreciative I am for this. Everybody who is involved with this is the generosity that you guys have shown. That's just absolutely. Thank you, Facebook. Thank you, Twitter. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, Instagram. Thank you, Threads. Guys, thank you, TikTok. Thank you, Instagram. Make sure you follow me on all of the platforms. I'm going to see how I can get these Substack going live as well. And then if it really gets fun, I'm going to also see if I can utilize the platform of the 200,000 followers that I have on there. We'll also start going live on all of the platforms. Name like thank you, Ruben. Thank you, brother. Good to see you, my man. You having a wonderful day. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, always. Thank you, Rock. Thank you, Rock. Oh, you Rock. There you are, Rock. Thank you so much. Who else? We got Mark Dean in there. We had Elizabeth for me. Thank you to Ali Osher over there on Twitch. Everything that you do. Thank you, Andrea, Aaron the show out, and all of that. Pop as well. I love you. I'm out. Peace.
Proud to officially name the undisputed. When did this come out? We're inviting Americans from all across the country to come. It's a new form of vicious violation to our country. Somebody said, "Is that a Trump statement or is that real?" Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen. For minors, do we love minors? I love minors. Here's a thought. Grow a sack, fill it with some balls. The undisputed champion of beautiful, clean coal.
We always do about this guy.
Those camels, haven't seen the camels like that for a long time. He says, wrecked them, damn near killed them. Never fight uphill, me boys, never fight uphill. They were fighting uphill. He said, wow, that was a big mistake. He lost his great general. And they were fighting, never fight uphill, me boys, but it was too late.
Taking him back to Nevada where he's wanted for banging horses.
They're just getting acclimated. You know what that means, acclimated. Water coming here is dead. We're a nation that just recently heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat
White people
people are a mortal danger to you and your loved ones.
Fucking Nazis.
What in the hell was that all about?
When you ran out the healthy arms, you ran out of really healthy. They had great arms, but they ran out. It's called sports. It's called baseball in particular, and pitchers, I guess you could say, in really particular. Yesterday was a hard word for me. Gettysburg, what an unbelievable battle that was. The Battle of Gettysburg, what an unbelievable, I mean, it was so much and so interesting and so vicious and horrible and so beautiful in so many different ways. It represented such a big portion of the success of this country.
For the rest of my life, I have the curse that I have little hands.
I ain't falling for no banana in my tailpipe.
Eating the dogs, the people that came in, they're eating the cats, they're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Brian, you're drunk. You're drunk. Brian, you're drunk. You're drunk.
I'm standing up here bashing the living shit out of Nazis.
I say mud, I said crud. You fall into some crud or something?
Dumps, big massive dumps.
Oh, go fuck yourself.
Army manned the air. It ran the ramparts. It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
All right, guys. I'll see you tomorrow for the doubleheader. Thank you so much.